Chapter 418. Boom boom. A series of muffled explosions rang out. The Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain ceiling grand array has opened. The cultivators surrounding the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect immediately retreated. Everyone knew what this meant. Once the protective mountain formation was completely activated, the mountain would be sealed. Sealing the mountain meant that the grudges were temporarily settled. Once someone attacked the mountain sealing formation, it would be a fight to the death. If the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect did not want to accept this kind of endless battle to the death, then they would have to send someone out to request for conditions. In other words, they would have to pinch their nose and kneel down to beg for peace. At this time, they had to agree to any conditions. Otherwise, the sect would be destroyed. If they didn't send anyone to sue for peace after being attacked by others, and even wanted to reopen the array door, it meant that the two sides would officially fight to the death. The moment the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain sealing grand array opened, all the cultivators inside and outside turned silent. However, no one really thought that this kind of endless struggle would have any big impact on them. After all, the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect was already on the verge of collapse. As such, in the face of a crucible transformation cultivator, they would not be able to resist at all. Ning Cheng motioned Zhang Qian and the others to not come out of the array formation, and stood at the edge of the array entrance, ready to rely on the array formation to resist at any time. Only then did he come out of the mountain protecting grand array, as his eyes swept over the cultivators in the vicinity. This time, there were at least a few hundred cultivators present. Moreover, even the weakest among them had a higher cultivation compared to the one with the highest cultivation in the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect, Li Yan. My Rainbow Fall Sword Sect has already sealed off the mountain, yet you still want to bully my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. Could it be that my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is a soft persimmon that you can pinch at will? After Ning Cheng swept his eyes over the people around him, he spoke in a very calm tone. Using this kind of light tone to speak, just when everyone thought that Ning Cheng would admit defeat, Ning Cheng suddenly spoke up in a stern voice, "Which beast was it that attacked my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain sealing grand array a moment ago? Come out for this, father." The surrounding people were startled. This wasn't right. How could a trifling sea expansion cultivator dare to be so arrogant? Could it be that he was putting on a strong front but was actually weak inside? Seeing Ning Cheng's gaze sweep towards them, the Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's Yuan Qin quickly spoke up. My Profound Light Chamber of Commerce had heard that a rogue cultivator wanted to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. As such, we came to see if the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect needed our help. The Profound Light Chamber of Commerce had sent 2 Crucible Transformation cultivators along with 3 Sea Opening Realm cultivators. Ning Cheng certainly understood Yuan Qin's words. Even though they didn't say that they were here to take advantage of him, the meaning behind their words was clear. That is, even rogue cultivators from the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect dare to bully their sect. Although we did not destroy your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain protecting grand array, we do not fear your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect. If your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is willing to come up with something, then we can watch from the sidelines. Ning Cheng's gaze swept through the crowd. Except for Yuan Qin, who took the initiative to explain, the other academies did not even bother to speak. They were different from Yuan Qin. Yuan Qin had already seen Ning Cheng's moves, and was somewhat afraid of Ning Cheng, while the other academies did not have even half a shred of fear towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not speak to Yuan Qin or the rest of the academies. Instead, his gaze was fixed on the people from the Red Star Sword faction. He already knew that the people who attacked the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect were from the Red Star Sword faction. Ha! A sickly-looking cultivator from the Red Star Sword faction suddenly laughed. Even if this old man attacked your Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's mountain protecting grand array, what about it? Rui Baishan killed a Crucible Transformation cultivator from my Red Star Sword faction, yet you little bastard slandered my Red Star Sword faction's disciple Jiang Jun. Ning Cheng did not wait for this sickly-looking man to finish his words, as he rushed forward just like a shadow. If that is the case, then you can go to hell. Ning Cheng had long since disliked this sickly-looking man, Red Star Sword Faction's Tang Guangxi, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 3rd level. Today, he dared to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword Sex Mountain protecting Grand Array, as such Ning Cheng was determined to use him to establish his prestige. Courting death. Ning Cheng was just a trivial sea-opening realm cultivator, yet he dared to take the initiative to challenge him, a Crucible Transformation 3rd level cultivator. Tang Guangxi's anger caused his white face to turn red. With a wave of his hand, 7 faintly discernible fire beads shot towards Ning Cheng, and in just a blink of an eye, the surroundings turned into a sea of fire. In the eyes of the people nearby, Ning Cheng and Tang Guangxi had completely disappeared, replaced by a scorching hot fireball. This kind of scorching heat gave people the illusion that it could even burn down the space around them. Of course, this was just an illusion. AI. A beautiful woman from the star-gathering mansion gave out a sigh. Elder Tang is just too stingy. To deal with a sea-opening realm cultivator, he even brought out 7 south fire beads. After she came to know that this sea-opening realm cultivator was Ning Cheng, she felt somewhat guilty in her heart. After all, Ning Cheng had saved the people from the star-gathering mansion, yet now her star-gathering mansion had followed him here to loot a burning house. However, this kind of thing was something that she could not do anything about. Her star-gathering mansion was not the only one who came here. As the 7 south fire beads wrapped around Ning Cheng instantly felt as if his entire body was being roasted. It was not until this time that Ning Cheng brought out his long spear, which was able to block the 7 south fire beads. The long spear transformed into a black spear dragon, which entangled the 7 south fire beads. Even if that was the case, Ning Cheng still could not help but gasp for breath. It seemed that the scorching hot aura coming from the south fire beads was something that he could not bear. This little bastard really does have some skills. Just advancing to the sea-opening realm and you think that you are the best under the heavens. Today this old man will let you see that there is always someone better than you. Although Tang Gongxi spoke those words, but in his heart he was extremely shocked. He did not think that Ning Cheng, with just the cultivation of a trivial sea-opening realm, would actually be able to block his 7 south fire beads. It was simply too shocking. Thinking back to a few years ago, Ning Cheng was still a profound core cultivator, and now he was already a sea-opening realm cultivator. Tang Gongxi was even more eager to kill Ning Cheng in his heart. After he killed Ning Cheng, he wanted to take away Ning Cheng's corpse. This cultivator definitely had a big secret. Without a big secret, this kind of cultivation speed, even in the Tian continent for countless years, there were only a few. The flames from the 7 south fire beads suddenly soared, just like a sun that had suddenly been filled with countless fuel. The flames were incomparably dazzling. Even a person with a poor cultivation would not be able to use their spiritual consciousness to sweep through it. Under the roasting of this kind of flame, Ning Cheng's aura became even more dispirited. His long spear, which had transformed into a spear-intent black dragon, was finally unable to entangle the 7 south fire beads, causing the black aura to instantly weaken. As the black aura weakened, Ning Cheng's aura became even more dispirited. Seeing Ning Cheng's dispirited aura within the 7 south fire beads, Tang Gongxi grinned, and shot out another red light. As soon as this red light came out, it immediately turned into 2 red lights. The 2 red lights had not yet arrived in front of Ning Cheng, when they once again turned into 4 red lights. This was also one of the magical weapons that made him famous, the Li Flame Diffraction Sword. His main spiritual root was fire attributed. Not only was his magical weapon fire attributed, but even his attack methods were mainly fire attributed. Ning Cheng seemed to know that he had to go all out, as such he once again raised his hand, bringing out another 12 axe lights. Of these 12 axe lights, 5 of them managed to block the Li Flame Diffraction Sword, while the remaining 7 all clashed with the dispirited long spear black dragon, once again blocking Tang Gongxi's attack. Tang Gongxi was surprised in his heart. Originally he just wanted to end this fight quickly. He did not expect Ning Cheng to be so resilient, to the point of being able to block his Li Flame diffraction sword. This was definitely not something that a sea-opening realm cultivator could achieve. However, when he saw Ning Cheng's soybean-sized beads of sweat dripping down, he felt slightly relieved in his heart. It looks like Ning Cheng was already an arrow at the end of its flight. As long as he sent out another attack, Ning Cheng would definitely die. Not only Tang Gongshi, even the rest of the surrounding cultivators also had their eyes flickering. Ning Cheng's cultivation had progressed so quickly. If one said that he did not have any secrets, then it was absolutely impossible. If Tang Gongshi killed Ning Cheng, then they would not even be able to drink the leftovers. Do not look at these people who had not taken the opportunity to attack the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. That was because they knew that as long as Tang Gongshi killed Ning Cheng, someone would be able to act as the vanguard. This kind of matter of offending people, it would be better to leave it to the Red Star Sword faction. After all, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Rui Baishan had not died yet, as such it would always be beneficial for everyone to have a backup plan. Now that Tang Gongshi and Ning Cheng were fighting like this, and were still unable to kill Ning Cheng, it caused some of the people to start thinking about it in their hearts. The surrounding people were filled with killing intent. An expert like Tang Gongshi could immediately perceive it. He knew that he had to kill Ning Cheng in the shortest possible time. Just when Tang Gongshi was about to bring out his trump card, suddenly 6 axe lights once again shot towards him. The 6 axe lights formed into 6 different axe lines. These axe lines were filled with a kind of tragic aura, as they split apart everything in their surroundings, before fusing together, as they chopped towards Tang Gongshi. Not good, this little bastard had not even used his full strength. Tang Gongshi instantly understood. He did not even think about it before bringing out a huge copper bell. At this moment, he understood that Ning Cheng's cultivation was not worse than his own. Dang 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 dang. The axe lines and the copper bell exploded together, giving out a tragic and mournful sound, just like a funeral bell. The 2 crucible transformation cultivators who wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to rush forward suddenly stopped in their tracks. The berserk true essence rushed over, as if it wanted to tear apart his meridians, causing Tang Gongshi to spit out a few mouthfuls of blood. At this moment, he understood that Ning Cheng was not only not worse than him, but was also much stronger than him. Moreover, it was not just by a little bit. Tang Gongshi only had a single thought in his mind at this moment, that was to quickly retreat, and then besiege this little bastard. He regretted bringing out the mythical flame spectral sword. If he had not brought out the mythical flame spectral sword, then he could have used the mythical flame spectral sword to withdraw from the fighting space between the 2 of them. However, even if that was the case, Tang Gongshi believed that he could still retreat. Tang Gongshi had just thought of this, when the Nirvana spear, which was entangled with the 7 south fire beads, suddenly changed its dispirited appearance and turned into a living black dragon. It directly cut through the space between the 2 of them, as it shot towards Tang Gongshi's glabella. A formidable oppressive force along with a sharp murderous intent erupted from the spear intent. Tang Gongshi was horrified to find that even with his cultivation at Crucible Transformation 3rd level, he could not resolve the murderous intent of the spear intent. Such a powerful spear, it caused Tang Gongshi's soul to shatter. Crazily twisting his body, he wanted to withdraw from the spear intent that had locked onto him. Puff. Even if Tang Gongshi twisted his body, the Nirvana spear still managed to pierce through his waist, bringing out a trail of blood. Tang Gongshi gave out a sigh of relief. He knew that he managed to escape with his life, causing him to feel a bit of pride in his heart. Facing such a terrifying spear intent, he unexpectedly managed to escape, without letting the long spear pierce through his glabella. This was definitely something to be proud of. He was sure that he had never seen such a terrifying spear intent before. Puff 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 puff. Another 6 trails of blood erupted from Tang Gongshi's body, causing Tang Gongshi's joy to stagnate in an instant. He could only watch as his body was cut into 7 pieces by the 6 small axes. Only then did he realize that Ning Cheng did not have 18 axes, but 24. At the same time, he also understood that Ning Cheng's spear did not intend to pierce through his glabella. The Red Star Sword faction is finished, this was his last thought. Chapter 419. Such a powerful spear intent, none of the cultivators here were weak, as such when Ning Cheng brought out his majestic spear intent, the surrounding cultivators immediately sensed it. Everyone's faces turned ashen. If they were to face this kind of spear intent, how would they deal with it? The terrifying and scorching aura of the South Fire Pearl instantly converged. Then, everyone saw Tang Guangxi's corpse, which had been chopped into 7 pieces, falling to the ground, followed by a rain of blood. At the same time, all of Tang Gongxi's magical weapons disappeared, even Ning Cheng, who was fighting against Tang Gongxi, also disappeared at this moment. Other than a few intermediate-stage crucible transformation cultivators who were able to clearly see how Ning Cheng killed Tang Guangxi, the rest of the cultivators could not even see how Ning Cheng won. Elder Tang was killed. A soul-sculpting realm cultivator from the Red Star Sword faction had just spoken those words when Ning Cheng arrived. The 12 cosmic true devil axes transformed into a killing array, completely surrounding the dozen or so cultivators below the crucible transformation realm. The long spear brought out one formidable spear intent after another, causing the spear intent to flash in the midst of the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction. Bursts of pitiful screams accompanied by splashes of blood mist erupted. At this moment, the area where the Red Star Sword faction stood had turned into an Azura hell. This sporadic counterattack, in the face of the 12 cosmic true devil axes killing array, simply did not play any role. In just less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the entire place turned quiet. Ning Cheng stood over the corpses of the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction that he had killed, with a calm expression on his face. At this time, the 12 small axes had disappeared, and only a long spear without any spiritual chi fluctuations remained in his hands. This time, it was really quiet. No one spoke. In the history of the Tian continent, no, in the history of the I Ching mainland, there had never been such a fierce sea-opening realm cultivator. Even if Ning Cheng did not say anything, some people already suspected that Ning Cheng had concealed his cultivation. Yuan Qin of the profound Gateway Chamber of Commerce felt a chill run down her spine. She also knew that Ning Cheng had said that he had shown mercy. Now that she saw Ning Cheng's actions, she realized that he had not only shown mercy to the profound Light Chamber of Commerce. The smell of blood was still pervading the air. No one spoke, and no one moved. Everyone knew that even if they joined forces to kill Ning Cheng today, this place would turn into a river of blood. If they were not careful, and failed to kill Ning Cheng, then in the future, their academy would turn into a river of blood. Just Rui Baishan alone was enough to make people feel dread, but no one expected that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would also end up with Ning Cheng. If they had known that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had such a monster, they definitely would not have come to this place. At this time, Ning Cheng did not speak. Once he left first, it would show that he had a guilty conscience. Maybe he would become the next target of Ning Cheng's revenge. Did they not see that Ning Cheng had used 12 axes to arrange an entrapment array with a formidable axe intent, and then used his long spear to kill all the people from the Red Star Sword faction? Didn't you see that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's mountain protecting grand array was repaired? A crucible transformation cultivator who was able to jump levels to kill enemies was already very terrifying. If this crucible transformation cultivator was also an array formation grand master, then the word terrifying would not be enough to describe him. Moreover, some of the crucible transformation cultivators also knew that Ning Cheng did not only have 12 axes, he actually had 24 axes. Only Yuan Qin, who was covered in a cold sweat, knew that Ning Cheng simply did not have 24 axes. She did not understand why Ning Cheng had to use 36 axes to deal with her. It was reasonable to say that Ning Cheng should not have used his full strength. In fact, she did not know that after Ning Cheng advanced to the 3rd level of the sea-opening realm, his consciousness was still at the first level of the sea-opening realm when he fought against Guiba. Yuan Qin's strength was much higher than Guiba's. Moreover, she also had the help of 4 sea-opening realm cultivators, coupled with the entrapment array of the profound light chamber of commerce. Therefore, Ning Cheng had overestimated the strength of the opposite party, and had brought out 36 axes at that time. If it was now, he would only need to bring out 12 axes to deal with it. Ning Cheng's gaze swept over the shocked faces of the other cultivators, before he spoke up in a cold tone, "My Rainbow Falls Sword sect does not bully other academies, nor is it an existence that people can bully. Those who attack my Rainbow Falls Sword sect's mountain ceiling grand array, will be killed without mercy. My Rainbow Falls Sword sect's sect master was plotted against by Suanjin and the others. Do you think that because my Rainbow Falls Sword sect does not have sect master Rui, it would be easy to bully? I, Ning Cheng, am the current Rainbow Falls Sword sect's sect master. Any academy that attacks my mountain protecting grand array will become my Rainbow Falls Sword sect's mortal enemy. In the past, when I was still in the Soul Essence realm, I was already able to kill my way into the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Now that I am only a step away from advancing to the Crucible Transformation realm, why would I be afraid of some demons and monsters trying to fish in troubled waters? If they want to deal with my Rainbow Falls Sword sect, then I, Ning Cheng, will take it all on. Even if I am not their opponent today, in the future, I will treat them the same way I treated the Severing Emotions Dao sect, and pay them a visit one by one." Ning Cheng, in order to increase his deterrence, had deliberately raised his cultivation by a few levels. The surroundings turned silent. Ning Cheng's words were a blatant threat. These Crucible Transformation cultivators were extremely shrewd, and did not care about it at all. However, some of the cultivators with lower cultivations were so angry that their faces turned extremely ugly. Unfortunately, they were not Ning Cheng's opponent. At this moment, even if Ning Cheng revealed the matter of Suanjin coming out, no one paid any attention to it. However, Ning Cheng's words were not even half a bit wrong. When the other party had the cultivation of Soul Essence realm, they already dared to barge into the Severing Emotions Dao sect. Now that they were about to advance to the Crucible Transformation realm, why would they be afraid? In contrast to these cultivators, the remaining nearly 1,000 people from the Rainbow Falls Sword sect were clenching their fists in excitement. Some of the younger cultivators even felt their bodies heating up, as hot blood rushed straight to the top of their heads. The Rainbow Falls Sword sect did not have a Crucible Transformation elder, so what? With Sect Master Ning here, the others would not dare to resist, and the Red Star Sword faction would not be able to survive. Ji Luofei stood at the entrance of the array formation, as she softly looked at Ning Cheng's back. If there were no one here, she would have already rushed over. The person who deterred many of the top academies from making a move, was none other than her man. Good, there are still people from my Rainbow Falls Sword sect who can stand up at this time. Looks like the heavens have not forsaken my Rainbow Falls Sword sect. A loud voice arrived. Everyone did not know when, but 3 people had appeared in this place. Ning Cheng, on seeing the cultivator who spoke, felt overjoyed in his heart. As he quickly came forward and gave a salute, Ning Cheng greets Sect Master Tantai. Since Sect Master Tantai has returned, then I can step down from my position as the acting Sect Master. To be honest, there were simply too many academies here, as such Ning Cheng was afraid that a fight might really break out. Even if the Rainbow Falls Sword sect was powerful, it would not be able to form an enmity with so many academies. Moreover, Ning Cheng knew 2 of the 3 people who came here. Apart from Deputy Sect Master Tantai, there was also a long eyebrow. The long eyebrow was the old man he had seen in the Method Depository Pavilion. No, we fell into the trap of luring the tiger out of the mountain, and ended up trapped in a place. We already know the reason for it. Not long ago, the people who trapped us suddenly left, allowing us to use the transfer talisman to come back. Ning Cheng, I am optimistic about you. Since Sect Master Rui is not here, then you are the most suitable person to be the Rainbow Fall Sword sect master. Tan Tai Fei did not hesitate to reject Ning Cheng's words. Yes, I initially thought that you were a disdainful disciple, but it looks like I was wrong about you. Just based on what you said before, you are the best candidate for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect master. After Rui Baishan comes back, he will definitely take the initiative to give up his position to you. The long-eyebrowed old man spoke with a satisfied tone. When Ning Cheng heard those words, he immediately understood that this long-eyebrowed person was not simple, and even had a higher status compared to Rui Baishan. These two are my Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's Method Depository Pavilions, Elder Taoist Zhongli Ping and Elder Taoist Yi Heang. Alas, Elder Taoist Shi died because of this matter, and could never come back. Tan Tai Fei gave out a sigh, before introducing the other two people to Ning Cheng. Congratulations to the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's two Elder Taoists and Deputy Sect Master Tan Tai for coming back. We had heard that the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect needed support, so we came to take a look. Now that the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect is fine, it is for the best. My Yin Yang Dao sect will now take its leave. A middle-aged man with a long beard came forward with a smile and spoke with cupped fists. Tan Tai Fei was just about to speak, when he suddenly remembered that Ning Cheng was now the Rainbow Fall Sword sect master. He quickly turned to Ning Cheng and spoke, "Sect master, this is Yin Yang Dao sect's elder Chu Xiu." Ning Cheng understood the meaning of Tan Tai Fei's words. He stood up and cupped his fists towards the people around him, before speaking out in a clear voice, "I know the purpose of you coming here today." Hearing Ning Cheng's words, the faces of many cultivators turned a bit ugly. If this kind of thing came out, then it would only bring shame to everyone's faces. Even if the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was powerful, could it become an enemy of so many factions at the same time? Tan Tai Fei felt anxious in his heart. He wanted to remind Ning Cheng not to be too straightforward and point things out. Some things were not something that could be easily pointed out. Ning Cheng acted as if he did not see Tan Tai Fei's eyes, and continued to speak out in a clear voice. Previously, Profound Light Chamber of Commerce's Little Miss Yuan also said that everyone knew that my Rainbow Fall Sword sect suffered a sneak attack, causing the sect to suffer great losses. Therefore, you specifically came here to help. On behalf of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, I would like to thank the enthusiasm of the various factions. In the future, if such a thing happens to any of your factions, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect will not fall behind. However, this matter has nothing to do with any of you. Moreover, we can't let you come here to help our friends. Not only do you have to contribute resources, but you also have to contribute. Today, I will not entertain any guests. Because I have just become the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, I do not know many of the factions here. I hope that you can introduce yourselves before you leave, so that I can keep it in mind." When the crowd heard this, they immediately understood that this was a shameless act. This was equivalent to asking for something, but not directly saying it out loud. Before leaving, he had said it out loud, indicating that he knew how many things the faction had sent as compensation. If they gave something, then everyone would know that they were even. If they did not give anything, then this sect master Ning would definitely remember it. The beautiful woman from the Star Gathering Mansion was the first to stand up, and took the initiative to walk in front of Ning Cheng. Taking out a ring, she gave a sweet smile and spoke, "He Zhenru, on behalf of the Star Gathering Mansion, supports the Rainbow Fall Sword sect with 100 million spirit stones, plus a certain amount of materials. Many thanks for Elder Sister He's generosity. Ning Cheng will not find an excuse to decline." Ning Cheng received the ring without hesitation, as he thanked her without feeling any pain or itch. The Star Gathering Mansion was one of the top 10 academies. Since they had taken the lead, then the rest of the people, whether they were from the top 10 academies or not, did not fall behind. One by one, they took the lead to give out their things, and quickly left. At this time, even if the factions did not want to take out their things, they would still have to think about it. Everyone took out their things, but if they did not take out their things, then who knows if Ning Cheng would secretly make a move. No, he would definitely make a move. Didn't you hear that he would keep it in mind? A person who even dared to sneak attack the Severing Emotions Dao sect, who would he be afraid of? Along with the arrival of the academies, one by one, they left behind their cultivation resources, and bought insurance against sneak attacks before leaving. Coupled with the return of the three powerful Crucible Transformation Elders from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Everyone knew that the crisis of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect had temporarily come to an end. Chapter 420. Good, Ning Cheng, you did a good job. Now that you have become the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect is bound to rise to the next level. After everyone returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak, the long-eyebrowed Taoist elder Zhong Liping was the first to praise Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, let Elder Tantai be the academy head, I need to put my time into cultivation, and do not have the energy to manage the affairs of the academy. Moreover, we also have to guard against a counterattack from the Red Star Sword faction. Tantai Fei waved his hand, Sect Master Ning, you don't have to worry about it. You can continue to be the sect master of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After that, I will go into seclusion at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak to cultivate. As for the mundane affairs of the academy, just leave it to me. The Red Star Sword faction would definitely not dare to come knocking on our door. At the same time, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples who were stranded outside would also slowly return. Ning Cheng was also quite satisfied. The Rainbow Fall Sword Peak was the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's main peak. Not only was the spiritual chi the richest, but the environment was also the best. Green hills and clear waters. This was his ideal training ground. The people around him could all stay and cultivate at the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. Sect Master Ning, Sect Master Tantai, this time the Heavenly Dao Public Square is holding the I Ching Mainland's disciple recruitment. Because of the sudden change in my Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Eldering had to bring the rest of the people back first, but now there is no trace of them. Not only did we fail to recruit any outstanding disciples, we even lost contact with Elder Ing and the others. Zhang Qian said. Zhang Qian only had the cultivation of Soul Essence first level, but because of his great contribution to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect protecting war, coupled with the fact that many of the people from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect were separated from each other, Zhang Qian was put in an important position by Ning Cheng. I guess that it was done by the Red Star Sword faction. The Red Star Sword faction and my Rainbow Fall Sword sect have long had a rift between us. This time, it seems like they have been planning this for a long time. Yi Heung, one of the two Grand Elders who had returned, said hatefully. He had been cultivating wholeheartedly and this time, he was very unhappy that he had been trapped by an array formation. If not for Tantai Fei saying that the current strength of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was far inferior to that of the Red Star Sword faction, he would have already gone to their doorstep. Tantai Fei understood the meaning behind Yi Heung's words. He hesitated for a moment before speaking. This time when the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was attacked, the Red Star Sword faction would definitely be the main force behind it. However, just a mere Red Star Sword faction alone would not dare to do such a thing to my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Previously, Sect Master Ning had said that he had seen Suanjin in the I Ching Ocean, so it is certain that the Severing Emotions Dao sect was secretly involved in this matter. Coupled with the fact that there is a traitor within the sect, there are also some uncertain factors. As such, our Rainbow Fall Sword sect can only rest and recuperate to restore our strength. The implication behind his words was that the Red Star Sword faction did not dare to continue looking for the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Similarly, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not have the strength to seek revenge from the Red Star Sword faction. The long-eyebrowed Grand Elder Zhong Liping also spoke up in agreement. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect really does not have the strength to attack at this moment. Regardless of how many forces came together to deal with my Rainbow Fall Sword sect, these people would definitely not come again. At most, it would be the Red Star Sword faction that would come. Moreover, I agree with Tan Tai Fei's statement, at least in the short term, the Red Star Sword faction would not dare to come here. Ning Cheng did not know much about these inside stories, so when he heard Zhong Liping's words, he immediately asked, "What does Elder Taoist Zhong mean?" Tan Tai Fei knew that Ning Cheng had joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect for the shortest time, as such he quickly explained, "Those forces are only joining forces for 2 treasures of my Rainbow Fall Sword sect. The first is the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword, and the second is the small spiritual domain. The small spiritual domain came back with us, as such no one would dare to openly snatch it. Moreover, if the yonder immortal Rainbow Fall Sword was taken away by others, then even if the other side cooperated with each other, they would still end up fighting each other for this sword. As for the Red Star Sword faction, we are currently unable to make a move against them. Sect Master Tantai, I'll have to trouble you to gather the scattered disciples of the academy. Zhang Qian, although your cultivation is low, but your ability to handle matters is quite good. Help Sect Master Tantai, and settle down the academy's affairs." Ning Cheng was very clear that although he had easily killed Tang Guangxi, it was not enough. This was because he was fighting on his home ground. If he went to provoke the Red Star Sword faction, then his strength would not be enough. Even if Tan Tai Fei did not remind him, he knew that he had to continue cultivating. Zhang Qian stood up and spoke, "Yes, Sect Master. However, this time the Heavenly Tao Public Square has some cultivators from the Lu continent. They seem to know Sect Master." "Who are they?" Ning Cheng immediately interrupted Zhang Qian's words and asked. Zhang Qian replied, "I only remember a few: Yan Ji, Nailan Rushue, Zhang Sun Yan, Bei Xingjin, Cheng Yixiao, Luo Banyan. Whoever touches him, I will kill them." Yan Ji's face had already emerged in Ning Cheng's mind. Compared to Nailan Rushue's fickleness, Yan Ji's kindness had left a much deeper impression on Ning Cheng. Suddenly, he wanted to see Yan Ji. Handing over the academy's affairs to Tan Tai Fei and Zhang Qian, Ning Cheng brought Ning Rulan, Ji Luofei and the others to the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. He introduced Lien Yi and Taishu Pingho to Yi Heang as disciples. Although Lien Yi's qualifications were not good, Ning Cheng was still the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's sect master, as well as the person who protected the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. With this bit of face, Yi Heang could not reject it. Moreover, after experiencing this matter, he felt that he should also leave behind a successor. The Rainbow Fall Sword Peak was the main peak of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, with a wide and incomparably beautiful area. Ning Cheng not only rebuilt a new immortal cave, but also spent a lot of time to rearrange the array formations. Ning Rulan, Ji Luofei, Nan Yuefang and Yang Honghua were all people he brought with him, but their cultivations were not high, as such, they could only stay here and cultivate. Not to mention that the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak's spiritual chi was already very rich. Ning Cheng himself was an Earth Pill Grand Master. As such, the resources he left behind in the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak were more than enough for the few of them to cultivate. Ji Luofei knew that the gap between her and Ning Cheng was just too big, as such she did not dare to delay even a little bit, and worked hard to improve her own cultivation. From Ning Cheng, she already knew that big sister Shi Qianghua had a crucible transformation cultivation, while she was still lingering in the essence building realm, which made her secretly determined to catch up. Ning Cheng did not go into seclusion. He wanted to see the cultivators from the Lu continent, but he mainly wanted to see Yan Ji. Moreover, he also wanted to consult the long-browed Grand Elder Zhong Liping on how to speed up his cultivation. Ning Cheng felt that his cultivation speed using spirit stones was too slow. For others, advancing a level in a year was already considered very fast. However, Ning Cheng still felt that it was too slow. This was not his feeling, but rather a bottleneck. During his cultivation, he could clearly feel that the amount of spiritual chi he absorbed had become a bottleneck for him. He could obviously cultivate faster, but unfortunately, there was no better spiritual chi for him to absorb. If it were replaced by the old fogey or the crystal stones given by Meng Jingxiu, his cultivation speed would definitely soar. It was also because of this bottleneck that Ning Cheng intended to see the cultivators from the Lu continent, while at the same time asking Zhong Liping about it. After all, the other party's age and strength were already in front of him. You said that you can obviously progress faster, but the amount of spiritual qi you absorb is always insufficient. Zhong Liping looked at Ning Cheng in doubt and asked. This was the first time he had heard of such a situation. Generally speaking, during cultivation, one could not absorb too much spiritual qi, lest it be transformed into true essence. It was not that one would always feel that it was insufficient no matter how much spiritual qi one absorbed. No wonder Ning Cheng was so powerful, able to kill crucible transformation cultivators with the cultivation of Sea Opening Realm. He had unexpectedly reached the point where spirit stones were not enough for his cultivation. From this, it could be seen that the laws in this place were not enough for Ning Cheng to comprehend a higher level. He knew that Ning Cheng definitely had some secrets, however, he did not want to ask about Ning Cheng's secrets. I understand your situation. I have 2 ways to provide you with them, you can refer to them yourself. After Zhong Liping sorted out Ning Cheng's words, he spoke up in an affirmative manner. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised as he gave a respectful bow and spoke, "Please advise me, Grand Elder." He had only come here to ask just in case, but he did not expect that there would really be a way. These old seniors really were different from the others. Being older was also an advantage. Zhong Liping nodded and accepted Ning Cheng's greeting before speaking. The first is to find a higher grade spiritual source than spirit stones. Ning Cheng on hearing this felt slightly disappointed in his heart. He already knew about this, but how could he find such a crystal stone? The reason why Meng Jingxiu was able to obtain it was because she was recognized by the Immortal Mansion as its master. However, he did not have such good luck to have the Immortal Mansion recognize him as its master. Zhong Liping was a man of the world, and was able to see the disappointment in Ning Cheng's heart with a glance. He showed a faint smile and spoke, "For example, a crystal stone that surpasses this world. This kind of thing can only be found but not sought, and is extremely rare. The second is to find a spiritual vein. Although spiritual veins are extremely rare in the Yixing mainland, it does not mean that they do not exist. Spiritual veins are better for cultivation than spirit stones." Ning Cheng asked in amazement. He knew about spiritual veins, but he already had billions of high-grade spirit stones on him. For him, spiritual veins were just so. Zhong Liping shook his head slightly and spoke, "No, spiritual veins and spirit stones are 2 different concepts. Spirit stones can be dug out as long as you can find a spirit stone mine. Based on the purity of the spiritual qi contained within, it can be divided into high, medium, low and best quality. But spiritual veins are a whole. Not only do they contain spiritual qi, but they also contain a kind of heaven and earth law. This kind of heaven and earth law is much more effective in cultivation compared to spirit stones that contain spiritual qi. It is beneficial to the cultivator's perception, and is also beneficial to the absorption. Therefore, most of the academies use spiritual veins to arrange spiritual gathering arrays. Generally speaking, in a world where the heaven and earth law is relatively complete, there would be more spiritual veins formed. But in a place where the heaven and earth law is incomplete, such as our Yixing mainland, the spiritual veins formed are extremely rare. Even if there are spiritual veins, most of them are of average quality, or even incomplete spiritual veins. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. He had only heard about spiritual veins before, but he had always confused spiritual veins with spirit stone mines. The only thing he understood was that these things were rare, and could be used to arrange array formations for academies. Only now did he understand that there was actually such a difference. No wonder the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect's Grand Elders were cheated away by the appearance of a spiritual vein. If the Rainbow Fall Sword Sect added a spiritual vein, then the cultivation speed of all the disciples would definitely be a lot faster. Zhong Liping continued, "Spiritual veins are also divided into good and bad ones. With your current situation, a low-grade spiritual vein should not have any effect on you. At the very least, you would need a medium-grade spiritual vein or a high-grade spiritual vein. If you can find a best-quality spiritual vein. Of course, that is impossible. Ning Qing gave a wry smile. If he could find a spiritual vein, then would the Academy's Grand Elders be cheated away because of the appearance of a spiritual vein in the Shattered Canopy Mountains? For him, this method was like trying to see the moon in the water. Ning Cheng was already somewhat disappointed, but Zhong Liping still continued to strike at him. Even if you can find a high-grade spiritual vein, for you, it would only be a temporary solution. Chapter 421. I ask Elder Taoist Zhong to give me some pointers. Ning Qing quickly bowed once again to ask for advice. This kind of opportunity was extremely rare. He had never had a master to teach him. If he did not ask for advice at this time, then when would he be able to ask for advice? In fact, there is nothing to point out. Just go to Heaven's Way and rush out of the I Ching mainland. The laws of the outside world are far more complete compared to the I Ching mainland. Only in such a complete world with complete laws would one have the hope of reaching a higher level. Zhong Liping stood up with a slightly flushed face, seemingly yearning for the Heaven's Way. Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when Zhong Liping waved his hand and interrupted Ning Cheng's words. With your identity as a sect master, it would be very simple for you to enter the Heaven's Way. However, I suggest that you should wait for a few hundred years before entering. After entering the Heavenly Road, no one has ever come out, and no one knows what kind of place it is after passing through the Heavenly Road. Even if Zhong Liping had not spoken about it, Ning Cheng would not be in such a hurry to go to Heaven's Way. His younger sister and his wife were both in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As such, before the two of them had the ability to protect themselves, he would not easily leave the Tian continent. Even if he had to go, he had to bring her along. Elder Taoist Zhong, I heard that some people can use the void-cleaving talisman to leave the graceful star mainland. If you don't want to enter Heaven's Way, then you can use this method to tear through the interface of the graceful star mainland. Is it possible? Ning Qing immediately recalled the talisman that Shi Qianghua had used to leave, as well as Zhang Wei using the heaven-opening talisman to help him return to Earth. Zhong Liping gave a self-deprecating smile and spoke, I have cultivated for countless years. Even if I am not as conceited as the top powerhouses of the Tian continent, I am still not much weaker than them. But to tear open the boundary, I can't do it in my entire life. Not to say that I can't do it, even if Su Anjin came, she wouldn't be able to do it. The I Ching mainland's heaven and earth laws were broken, causing the crucible transformation realm to reach the pinnacle. Although there was a realm above the crucible transformation realm, it did not have a clear boundary. If he couldn't even touch the realm of cultivation, it was clear that he couldn't reach the pinnacle of the world, let alone tear the world apart. Besides, the space-breaking spell is only recorded in antiquity times. I've never seen anyone use it. Ning Cheng understood the meaning behind Zhong Liping's words. If one wanted to leave the I Ching mainland, then there was only one way, and that was through Heaven's Way. Many thanks for Elder Taoist Zhong's guidance. Ning Cheng benefited a lot from it. Ning Cheng thanked him. He had indeed benefited a lot from coming here today. Zhong Liping showed a faint smile and spoke, let me tell you one more thing. Although we old fellows are not very smart, we are not stupid enough to be cheated by others. Ning Cheng immediately understood and asked in amazement, does the Shattered Canopy Mountains really have spiritual veins? Yes, this old master is sure that the Shattered Canopy Mountains have a spiritual vein. Not only am I certain, but there are also people from the other major sects who know about it. However, this spiritual vein was concealed by a top-grade natural array formation, as such it could only be sensed occasionally. Perhaps it was not even in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. If your cultivation progress is really small, then I suggest you go to the Shattered Canopy Mountains to have a look. Of course, you also have to be careful of the people from the Yin Yang Dao Path and the Heavenly Dao Academy. the old guys from these two academies are very shameless. This sentence was what Zhong Liping really wanted to say to Ning Cheng. He did not want Ning Cheng to go to heaven's way right now. Of course, he wanted Ning Cheng to pull the Rainbow Falls sword sect up again. Moreover, Ning Cheng's current cultivation was indeed a bit low. Since Ning Cheng was proficient in array formations, he might really be able to find a spiritual vein in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. Heavenly Dao Public Square, this was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. After he came to know from Zhong Liping that the Shattered Canopy Mountains might have a spiritual vein, he immediately decided to go to the Shattered Canopy Mountains to have a look. For other cultivators, a top-quality pill or countless spirit stones were cultivation resources. But for Ning Cheng, at this moment, only a spiritual vein was his cultivation resource. This kind of extremely rare cultivation resource, if he did not compete for it, then it would never end up in his hands. Before going to the Shattered Canopy Mountains, Ning Cheng came to the Heavenly Dao Public Square. He did not expect the Rainbow Falls Sword sect to recruit many good disciples this time, rather, he wanted to take a look at Yan Ji. The Heavenly Dao Public Square's recruitment of disciples by the major academies was coming to an end, but the place was still bustling with people. Now get the hell out of here for this father, an ant from the Look continent, yet you dare to be arrogant in front of me. If not for the Heavenly Dao Public Square forbidding killing, this father would have already turned you into ashes. A disdainful voice entered Ning Cheng's ears. The two words Look continent immediately attracted Ning Cheng's attention. A young man with disheveled hair and a few bloodstains on his face was lying on the ground. His face was covered with bloodstains, while a foot was stepping on his face. The young man from the Look continent who was lying on the ground had the cultivation of profound core 7th level, but his aura was unstable, showing that his injuries were not light. As for the cultivator who was stepping on him, he had the cultivation of soul essence 3rd level. If it were a fight between the disciples of the academies, Ning Cheng would not have bothered to even look at it. He was also from the Look continent, moreover he was here to look for Yan Ji. Since he encountered such a thing, he immediately walked over. What's the matter? Ning Cheng stepped forward but did not directly start. It's none of your business, don't stir up trouble for yourself, get out of the way. The soul essence cultivator who was stepping on the profound core youth saw that someone had come over to meddle in other people's business, and felt very unhappy in his heart. The profound core 7th level youth who was being stepped on, was insulted in such a way, causing his mind to be in turmoil, but unfortunately he was unable to resist. Now that someone came up to inquire about the situation, he quickly spoke up, "Senior, this junior is Zhuang Jingyi, from the Look continent's Zhuang clan. Because this person came to know that I had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses on me, he wanted to forcibly take away my Blood River Red Lotuses, but did not honor his promise. I do not agree." Look continent's Zhuang clan. Another familiar face appeared in his mind. My name is Zhuang Xiangsha, and I am from the Look continent's Zhuang clan. If you can get out in the future, I would like to ask you to bring me back to the Look continent's Zhuang clan to Zhuang Wenhan. At this moment he felt a bit ashamed. After returning to the Look continent, he was anxious to find Luofei, and then fighting with the Gui clan, causing his mind to be completely focused on this kind of war, causing him to forget about the matter of Zhuang Xiangsha for a time. Initially on the Law's Way, he had saved many cultivators who had entered the Law's Way, but when he was besieged, other than Zhuang Xiangsha who stood up to help him, none of the people he had saved before came forward to help him. Even if Zhuang Xiangsha was also saved by him, he still felt extremely grateful towards Zhuang Xiangsha in his heart. Finally, he helped Zhuang Xiangsha refine a coffin, and now Zhuang Xiangsha was still in his miniature world. Senior. Zhuang Jingyi, on seeing Ning Cheng in a daze, quickly called out. His qualifications were ordinary, but because he was the only son of the Manor Master, he was able to obtain a quota to enter the Tian continent. That pair of Blood River Red Lotuses was something he had prepared for public relations, with the purpose of entering a good academy in the Tian continent. Ning Cheng did not answer, as he lifted his foot slightly. The soul essence cultivator who had just stepped on Zhuang Jingyi heard a "catcha" sound, and immediately fell to the ground. This soul essence cultivator was extremely frightened in his heart. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. This person had easily broken one of his legs with a kick, showing that this person's cultivation was definitely much higher than his. Ning Cheng took out a pill and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi, before pulling Zhuang Jingyi up and asked, "Who is Zhuang Xiangsha to you? Do you know who Zhuang Wenhan is?" Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed and thanked him before carefully speaking, replying to Senior, "Zhuang Xiangsha is my elder sister, while Zhuang Wenhan is this junior's father." Oh. Ning Cheng gave a sigh, as he looked at Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "I am called Ning Cheng, I do not know if you know me." Hearing Ning Cheng report his name, Zhuang Jingyi suddenly fell to his knees and spoke, "Many thanks Senior Ning for sparing my elder sister from the humiliation." This junior came to know from the Wu Nian Academy's senior apprentice brother Cheng Yixiao, that at that time only senior apprentice brother acted. Ning Cheng pulled Zhuang Jingyi up as he took out a coffin and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "I should have gone to the Zhuang clan, but I was in a fight with the Gui Yuan city, as such I did not have the time to go to the Zhuang clan. Since I met you today, then I will leave it to you." Zhuang Jingyi took the coffin that Ning Cheng handed to him, as he placed it on the ground and burst into tears on the spot. Ning Cheng was unable to persuade Zhuang Jingyi, as such he turned his gaze towards the soul essence cultivator whose leg he had broken. At this time, this soul essence cultivator's face was pale, and his entire body was trembling. Ning Cheng had displayed his godly might in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, causing him to have an illustrious reputation. How could he not know about it? Senior, this junior had eyes but failed to see, eyes but failed to see. This soul essence cultivator spoke out in a terrified voice. Because of this commotion, a bunch of cultivators quickly gathered here. Ning Cheng simply did not care about how many cultivators there were in this place. As he raised his hand, the finger of this soul essence cultivator had already broken off, while his ring also disappeared. "Get lost, don't let me see you again." Ning Cheng coldly spoke out. Sect Master Ning truly has a great reputation, and is truly awe-inspiring. Openly robbing a junior's ring in the Heavenly Tao public square, could it be that the Heavenly Tao Academy is just a piece of paper in the eyes of Sect Master Ning? A sarcastic voice arrived, causing the surrounding cultivators to give way. Everyone knew that a good show was about to start. Who did not know about Ning Cheng's illustrious reputation? Not only did he kill the Red Star Sword faction's Crucible Transformation cultivator, Tang Gongshi, outside the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, but he also killed all the other cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction who went to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Moreover, he even extorted dozens of academies for their spirit stones and resources. Just by relying on a single person, he managed to save the Rainbow Fall Sword sect from imminent destruction. Because Tang Gongshi had destroyed the sealed entrance of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, while Ning Cheng had killed all the cultivators from the Red Star Sword faction, there was simply no shortage of reasons. Moreover, no one dared to join hands to deal with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect because of this matter. However, now that Ning Cheng was the sect master of such a major academy, robbing a soul essence cultivator's ring, this kind of thing, once caught, would definitely be an opportunity. What's more, this person who came out to ridicule Ning Cheng, was someone that many people knew, Yin Yang Dao Sect's Crucible Transformation 7th level Elder Rome Jin. Zhuang Jingyi quickly put away his elder sister Zhuang Xiangsha's coffin and stood behind Ning Cheng. With more and more Lu Continent's disciples being selected by other academies, he now had nowhere to go. After today, he would become a rogue cultivator in the Tian continent, until he fell. Ning Cheng simply ignored the ridiculing cultivator, as he looked at Zhuang Jingyi and asked, "Do you want to join any academy?" This disciple's qualifications are average, and currently there is no academy that would take a fancy to me. Zhuang Jingyi spoke with a gloomy face. "It doesn't matter, you can join my Rainbow Fall Sword sect in the future." Ning Cheng spoke without any care. Zhuang Jingyi had just heard this cultivator address Ning Cheng as sect master, now hearing Ning Cheng speak about the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, he suddenly felt shocked in his heart. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was one of the top 10 academies. How could Ning Cheng be the sect master? However, he quickly reacted, knowing that these things were not something he should think about, as he quickly bowed and spoke, "Disciple Zhuang Jingyi thanks sect master Ning." While speaking, he already regarded himself as a disciple of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. "Sect master Ning, you might not know who this is, right? This is Yin Yang Dao sect's Rong Jin." At this moment, another voice arrived. "Who he is none of my business, why would I know him?" Ning Cheng spoke in a flat tone, he did not even look at the person who had just arrived. Chapter 422. This time, Ning Cheng knew who this person was, Heavenly Dao Academy's Crucible Transformation Cultivator, Si Rauha, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 5th level. A few years ago, when he participated in the great meet of the academies at the Heavenly Dao Academy's public square, Sun Hanrui had told him about it. Although Rong Jin's expression remained the same, his heart was filled with anger. In the past, his reputation was not inferior to the current Ning Cheng. Because of the sub-cave mystic realm, he killed 12 sea opening realm cultivators when he was at the 7th level of sea opening realm. Moreover, because of this matter, he ended up in conflict with the spirit refining sect. He even came to challenge the spirit refining sect alone, which resulted in the spirit refining sect sealing their mountain for 1,000 years. Even now, he was second to none in the Yin Yang Dao sect. Even Rui Baishan had to address him as Brother Rong. Ning Cheng was just a puny sea opening realm cultivator. Just because he became a sect master, he acted so arrogantly, it was simply too shameless. How can my name be compared to sect master Ning Cheng's fame? Rong Jin spoke with a calm expression. Ning Cheng did not want to put on a nonchalant appearance in front of Rong Jin. Previously, among the many academies that went to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Yin Yang Dao sect's Ji Xiu was not only the first to leave, but he also offered the least amount of compensation out of all the academies. One of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent, only came up with 100,000 spirit stones, which was even worse than some of the trash academies. Rather than compensation, it was more like ridicule. If not for Ning Cheng not wanting to provoke public anger in that environment, he would have already beaten up Ji Xiu on the spot. He originally wanted to find trouble with the Yin Yang Dao sect, but now that the people from the Yin Yang Dao sect took the initiative to provoke them, how could he give face to this Rong Jin? If he was just too lazy to care about it before, then after knowing Rong Jin's identity, he immediately changed his mind. Since you know that no one knows your name, then get lost, don't delay this sect's matters. Ning Cheng spoke without any trace of politeness. Rong Jin's ability to maintain his composure was high, but he could not help but sneer and speak, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect really has a lot of courage, to have such a brilliant sect master. If everyone behaved in the same manner as sect master Ning, then everyone would no longer need to look around for cultivation resources in the future. Those with high cultivations could just rob those with low cultivations. Today, even if sect master Ning uses the name of the sect to suppress others, I will still seek justice for the ordinary cultivators. Even though Rong Jin's voice was not too loud, it had still attracted the attention of countless cultivators. Not to mention, Rong Jin wanted nothing more than to blow things up. Thus, the number of cultivators surrounding them grew. Ning Cheng spoke up in a sarcastic tone, I did not expect that you would spit out ivory from your mouth, it really is not simple. The Yin Yang Dao faction was secretly in cahoots with the Red Star Sword faction, and was the main faction that joined forces to deal with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. It was just that one of them was in the light, while the other was in the dark. Ning Cheng did not have such good self-restraint, and needed to swallow his anger. His current strength was indeed unable to sweep across the Yin Yang Dao sect. However, against a mere Rong Jin, there was no need for him to endure. Hearing Ning Cheng calling him a dog in a roundabout way, Rong Jin almost attacked him. This puny early-stage sea-opening realm cultivator was just too arrogant. What did he rely on, to offend the Red Star Sword faction, and even dare to provoke his Yin-Yang Dao faction? Not waiting for Rong Jin to speak, Ning Qing once again spoke up in a loud voice, "Zhuang Jingyi, you tell the people around here, what did this soul essence cultivator, whose leg was broken by me, do to you?" Zhuang Jingyi was equivalent to a young master in the Lu continent, but in the Tian continent, he was timid, only because he understood that he was just an ant in this place. Now that Ning Qing stood up to support him, he did not hesitate for even half a moment before speaking up in a loud voice, "I come from the Lu continent, but because of my poor qualifications, I did not join any faction. This person is called Dong Su, and said that he is a disciple of the Great Change Island, and even took out his identity jade card. He told me that as long as I could come up with something good, he could bring me into the Great Change Island, and let me become an inner sect disciple of the Great Change Island. I thought that the Great Change Island was one of the top 10 academies, and would not do such a thing. So I said that I had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses, but I did not expect that he would let me show him the Blood River Red Lotuses before taking them away, moreover he did not even acknowledge it. This is absolutely slander. I did not take his Blood River Red Lotus." Dong Su, who was sitting on the ground, immediately called out. He was not afraid of being checked, he simply did not have the Blood River Red Lotus on him, even the ring that Ning Qing took away did not contain the Blood River Red Lotus. If he could not do this, then he would not have dared to openly snatch away Zhuang Jingyi's Blood River Red Lotus in the Heavenly Dao public square. Rong Jin coldly stared at Ning Qing and spoke, "If you want to rob the things of a soul essence cultivator, then of course you have to find an excuse. If I hadn't seen you today, you would have probably succeeded. If you have the guts, then take out the ring and let everyone see if there is any Blood River Red Lotus inside. The matters of my Great Change Island do not require your Yin-Yang Dao's intervention." A clear and cold voice rang out as a woman appeared before the crowd. Ning Qing knew this woman. Her name was Tan Yun, Tan Yushan's elder sister. In the past, she only had the cultivation of 6th level of soul sculpting realm, but now she was already at the 1st level of sea opening realm. From this, it could be seen that she had gone all out to improve her cultivation in the past few years. However, this kind of cultivation speed could easily destroy one's foundation. Not everyone was like Ning Qing, who had the support of an origin. So it turned out to be the Great Change Island's Tan Yun. Since your Great Change Island wants to bow down, then I, Rong Jin, have never said anything. I can only say that being a disciple of the Great Change Island is really not easy. Rong Jin's words could not be described as not ruthless. Saying such words in front of so many people, if Tan Yun really did not pursue the truth of the matter, then the reputation of the Great Change Island would definitely plummet. Tan Yun spoke up in a cold voice, "My Great Change Island is one of the top 10 academies of the Tian continent, as such I do not need others to teach me what to do. My Great Change Island's disciples will never bully the weak, nor will we allow others to bully us. If you can't even do this, then my Great Change Island will take the initiative to withdraw from the top 10 academies, lest we continue to lose face within the top 10 academies." If Tan Yun dared to speak to him in such a manner in a place with no one around, then Rong Jin would have already slapped Tan Yun into ashes. However, in the Heavenly Dao public square, he could only swallow it with a smile on his face. "Dong Su, why don't you talk about this matter, what is going on?" Tan Yun stared at the soul essence cultivator cowering on the ground and spoke. "Elder Tan, this matter is unjust, Sect Master Ning took away my ring. There is no Blood River Red Lotus inside, it is just that Sect Master Ning heard that I had an essence soul fruit." When Ning Qing heard this, he could not help but admire this person's ability to spread rumors. Although he did have an essence soul fruit in his ring, but he truly did not have a Blood River Red Lotus. However, Ning Qing did not believe this person's words, this person had obviously taken away the Blood River Red Lotus. Otherwise, with Zhuang Jingyi's trivial profound core cultivation, and a cultivator from the Lu continent, how could he dare to slander a soul essence cultivator? This was simply courting death. Sect Master Ning, please return the ring of my Great Change Island's disciple to me. If the inspection is correct, and it is indeed my Great Change Island's disciple who robbed a lower-leveled cultivator, then I will definitely satisfy you. If not, then you will have to give me an explanation for harming my Great Change Island's disciple. Tan Yun spoke politely to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to throw Dong Su's ring back to Tan Yun. Of course, if someone slandered your island's disciple, then I would be the first to not let them off. Ning Cheng did not want to offend the Great Change Island. The reason why the Red Star Sword faction feared the Rainbow Falls Sword sect, in addition to the Rainbow Falls Sword sect itself, was that the Great Change Island was also a potential threat. Ever since Jiang Jun killed Tan Yushan in the past, these two academies had definitely become enemies. Ning Cheng handed over the ring to Tan Yun in public, showing his absolute trust in Tan Yun. With such an attitude, the surrounding people started to believe in Ning Cheng even more. After all, Sect Master Ning had once sold buckets of spiritual enhancement true nectar in the cultivator exchange main hall. For such a rich person, how could a mere essence soul fruit enter his eyes? After Tan Yun received the ring, she used her spiritual consciousness to easily break the restrictions placed on the ring. She then raised her hand, and a pile of things appeared in front of everyone. Tan Yun then raised her hand and opened a jade box. Inside the jade box was a pair of Blood River red lotuses. Dong Su stared at the pair of Blood River red lotuses with wide eyes, as he muttered, "Impossible, absolutely impossible, Dong Su, now that this pair of Blood River red lotuses is here, what else do you have to say?" Tan Yun stared at Dong Su and spoke in a cold voice, "My Great Change Islands Academy's motto is to not bully the weak without any reason, nor to rob without any reason, can you explain it to me?" "No, absolutely impossible, this pair of red lotuses is not mine, it is definitely not mine." Even if Dong Su cracked his brain, he still could not figure out how this pair of red lotuses came out. Blood River red lotuses were extremely rare. If this kind of thing could be found everywhere, then he would not have come here to snatch the Blood River red lotuses of a profound core 7th level cultivator. Ning Cheng suddenly asked, "Then what about your Blood River red lotuses?" "I teleported away." Dong Su's words suddenly came to a halt. He looked at the ridiculing eyes of the people around him, and realized that he had spoken the wrong words. This kind of verbal sneak attack made it impossible for him to guard against it. It was just like a person saying to you, "When I speak, don't say, N, can you?" Your first subconscious answer would be, N. In his mind, he was constantly thinking about how could there be a pair of Blood River red lotuses in this place, as such he did not guard against anything else. Ning Cheng put away the pair of Blood River red lotuses and spoke, "You really are right, this pair of Blood River red lotuses really was not something that you snatched, because it was me who put them in." Tan Yun's complexion turned extremely ugly as she once again put the things back into the ring. She only took out an identity jade card, and then took out a jade box and put it into the ring. She then handed the ring to Zhuang Jingyi and spoke, "This is your compensation." Zhuang Jingyi was just about to refuse, when Ning Cheng sent a sound transmission over, "You don't have to refuse it, it is something that you deserve." That jade box from a moment ago contained a soul condensing pill. After you return to the academy, you will have to find a way to condense your soul essence. Hearing the word soul condensing pill, Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed towards Tan Yun and thanked her, "Many thanks senior for the generous gift." Tan Yun nodded, and then spoke to Dong Su, "You are now no longer a disciple of the Great Change Island." Dong Su's complexion turned incomparably pale. He did not think that such a trivial matter would deprive him of his status as a disciple of one of the 10 major academies. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret. Although Rong Jin looked calm on the surface, he was actually cursing Dong Su as an idiot in his heart. As long as Dong Su did not speak the wrong words, he was confident that he could prove that Ning Cheng was the one who put the Blood River red lotuses into the ring. "Sect Master Ning, I actually came here specifically to look for you. I just came from the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. After dealing with this matter, Tan Yun spoke up to Ning Cheng. Rong Jin felt unhappy in his heart, as he gave a cold snort and spoke, Sect Master Ning. Fuck off. Not waiting for Rong Jin to finish his words, Ning Cheng immediately snapped at Rong Jin without any trace of politeness. So what if he was at Crucible Transformation 7th level? He simply did not fear Rong Jin. Chapter 423. That's right, do you know about the Gue Yuan City's Gue Bell? Ning Cheng asked again. He had not seen the Gue Bell in the Heavenly Dao public square. Ning Cheng ridiculed Rong Jin for not being the academy master, and as such, compared to him, Rong Jin also ridiculed Ning Cheng's cultivation for being too low, only at the sea-opening realm. Since the emergence of the sect surpassing censure, very few academy heads would go up to challenge it. Even if it was a crucible transformation cultivator, very few of them would go up to challenge it. Only when there was a great enmity between life and death would someone propose to challenge the sect of surpassing eminence. Zhuang Jingyi quickly bowed and spoke, replying to Sect Master, there are a lot of cultivators from the Lu continent, but most of them have already joined the major academies, only a few like me are still looking for opportunities in the Heavenly Dao public square. Senior apprentice Sister Yan Ji has now joined the Floating Snow Palace, and left the Heavenly Dao public square with the people from the Floating Snow Palace 3 days ago. In Rong Jin's challenge, they could choose not to accept. However, they had to kneel before Rong Jin and beg for mercy, agreeing to one of Rong Jin's conditions. In other words, if you begged for mercy and someone told you to crawl under their crotch, you would have to do it. Jiang Jun is a true inheriting disciple of the Red Star Sword faction. If I have not guessed it wrong, then I'm afraid that he is already at the intermediate stages of the soul sculpting realm, or even the late stages of the soul sculpting realm. Tan Yun's tone turned gentle. The enmity between her and Jiang Jun was as deep as the sea. Moreover, this gentle tone contained a powerful hatred. Not long ago, Zhuang Jingyi had heard Ning Cheng say that he had fought with Gue Yuan City, as such he knew that Ning Cheng and Gue Zhong definitely had some kind of conflict between them. Now that Ning Cheng asked about it, he quickly replied, I heard that he went to Heaven's Way, and then there was no news about him. This kind of explosive news, it would be hard for others to not know about it. Ning Cheng was a rising star, someone who had killed Tang Gongshi who was at the Crucible Transformation 3rd level, causing his reputation to spread far and wide. Rong Jin was an experienced and ruthless person, and was one of the powerhouses of the Yin Yang Dao sect. Tang Gongshi could not be compared to him at all. Moreover, his cultivation was several levels higher than Ning Cheng's. Tan Yun understood that Ning Cheng liked to go straight to the point. She stood up and gave Ning Cheng a respectful salute before speaking, if not for you, I might have still regarded those beasts as my family today. I've never had the chance to thank you, so I'm going to thank you this time. Of course, Ning Cheng was not brainless enough to tell Rong Jin to fuck off, he still had this bit of self-restraint. His original purpose was to provoke Rong Jin, and then when he left the Heavenly Dao public square, Rong Jin would follow him, and then kill this guy. However, he did not expect that Rong Jin would issue a challenge. He had never heard of the sect surpassing overlords. Me killing Tang Gongshi can also be considered as helping you vent your anger. I think that we are friends and not enemies. Ning Cheng did not like Tan Yun's roundabout way of speaking. Ning Cheng looked at Zhuang Jingyi and asked, are there many cultivators from the Lu continent? By the way, do you know where Yan Ji is? He originally wanted to kill Rong Jin, and now that Rong Jin took the initiative to challenge him, how could he not accept it? However, it had to be 3 months later. In these 3 months, he had to focus on finding the spirit vein. If he could find a spiritual vein, he might even be able to advance to the intermediate stage of the sea-opening realm and fight against Rong Jin. If he really couldn't find it, then so be it. Ning Cheng was very disappointed in his heart. He had wanted to find Yan Ji and invite her to join the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, and live together in the Rainbow Fall Sword Peak. He did not expect that he would be a few days late, and that Yan Ji would end up joining the Floating Snow Palace. Although he didn't have any enmity with the Drifting Snow Palace, he didn't have a good impression of them either. With Yan Ji becoming a disciple of the Floating Snow Palace, Ning Cheng also dispelled the idea of going to see Yan Ji again. Many thanks, Sect Master. Zhuang Jingyi received the jade card in surprise, thinking in his heart that they really came from the same place. Sect Master Ning had spared no effort in helping them. Rong Jin, although your qualifications are a bit worse than mine. Since you want to court death, then I will fulfill your wish. However, this sect master currently has an important matter to attend to. 3 months later, we will have a showdown at the sect surpassing censure. Ning Cheng did not hesitate to agree to Rong Jin's challenge. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect currently only had a few disciples. As such, Ning Cheng wanted to recruit some disciples. Moreover, if the cultivators from the Luk continent could not find a sect, then they would only end up as rogue cultivators in the Tian continent. The fate of a rogue cultivator in the Tian continent could be imagined. Ning Cheng was only able to help out in this matter. As for how much he would be able to show up at the sect, it all depended on himself. Tan Yun spoke up without any hurry. Sect Master Ning, please go ahead, I'm not in a hurry. Even if Rong Jin had great self-restraint, he still couldn't stand it. Ning Cheng, do you think that the Heavenly Dao Public Square does not allow fighting, and that I can't do anything to you? Oh. The Heavenly Dao Public Square also has a sect surpassing censure. I, Yin Yang Dao Sect's Rong Jin, formally issue a challenge to you today. The sect surpassing censure will not rest until one of us is dead. Let's see if I can kill you or not. Many people began to look forward to the wonderful duel that would take place in 3 months. The sect surpassing censure had been silent for countless years, but because of this restless and combative sect Master Ning, it would once again reopen. As soon as Rong Jin's words came out, it immediately caused a commotion among the surrounding cultivators. A duel in the sect surpassing censure, this was not a trivial matter. Only cultivators above the crucible transformation realm in the sect surpassing censure were qualified to participate in the duel. Of course, if you were not a crucible transformation cultivator, and were a sect master of a 7-star academy, then you would also be qualified to participate in the duel. Ning Cheng was not a crucible transformation cultivator, but he was a sect master, which was why he agreed to the conditions of the duel. Tan Yun secretly sighed. She knew that Ning Cheng was speaking the truth. Even if Ning Cheng was more powerful, he would not be able to kill a cultivator at the great circle of the soul essence realm with his cultivation at the profound core 8th level. Tan Yun spoke up in a calm tone. Sect Master Ning really is not afraid of trouble. You just killed the Red Star Sword faction's Tang Gongshi, and now you want to challenge the Yin Yang Dao Sect's Rong Jin. Ning Cheng, who was waiting on the side, spoke up to Tan Yun. You wait a moment, I want to ask a few things. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect was currently very weak. As such, he would not try to curry favor with people who were already his opponents. However, if he could win over a partner, he would not push them away. Senior Apprentice Sister Tan, why are you looking for me? After Ning Cheng brought Tan Yun into the Scattered Star rest stop, he took the initiative to ask. He absolutely could not treat Tan Yun the same way he treated Rong Jin. Rong Jin was definitely an enemy. Tan Yun represented the Great Change Island, and was now an invisible partner of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. As such, they could develop into a genuine cooperative relationship. Ning Cheng spoke as he took out a jade card and handed it to Zhuang Jingyi. After you arrive at the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, just take out this jade card. The first time he, Yin Kongchan and Su Yingde had come here to finalize the cooperation, it was also because of that cooperation that he managed to obtain the geocentric 9 Yin essence, the underworld soul flower, and even the Nirvana spear. Of course, it was also because of that cooperation that he almost lost his life in the hands of Su Yingde. Thinking until here, she took the initiative to explain, the sect-surpassing censure is a place where crucible transformation cultivators or academy heads challenge each other. The cultivators who enter will not rest until they die. If you don't agree to Elder Rong's challenge, you can take the initiative to admit defeat. If you admit defeat, you must beg for mercy, and if you beg for mercy, you must listen to any one of Elder Rong Jin's conditions. Ning Qing could only give out a dark sigh. Although the Great Change Island was one of the top 10 academies, but when compared to the strength of the Red Star Sword faction, it was still a lot worse. Jiang Jun was holed up in the sect in closed-door cultivation, so it was normal for her to be helpless. Go ahead. Ning Qing nodded. He knew that Tan Yun was looking for him because she wanted to cooperate with him. As for why she wanted to cooperate with him, he was not very clear about it. Obviously, it was Rong Jin who challenged Ning Qing, however, Tan Yun said that Ning Qing challenged Rong Jin. In fact, Ning Qing also knew that what she said was not wrong, it was indeed him who took the initiative to challenge them. He did not look down on Rong Jin in front of everyone and told him to scram. With Rong Jin's ability to maintain his composure, he would never take the initiative to challenge him. What Ning Qing did not know was that Yan Ji had already inquired about him. She came to know that he was forced to flee by several of the major academies, before disappearing without a trace. However, when the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's headmaster did not say anything, she dispelled the idea of joining the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect. Under the persuasion of Yin Kongchan, she decided to join the Floating Snow Palace. Yes. Zhuang Jingyi quickly responded. He was a rogue cultivator from the Luk continent, and did not have any friends in this place. As such, he was not aware of the things that happened in the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect a few days ago. Ning Qing immediately understood. His spiritual consciousness had already swept to the place where the 3 words sect-surpassing censure were engraved. It was located on the westernmost side of the Heavenly Tao public square. Rong Jin's complexion returned to its previous tranquil state, it's just empty talk. An early-stage C-opening realm cultivator dares to become the headmaster of one of the top 10 academies, it only means that this academy has no one to back it up. The reason why I came looking for you this time, in addition to thanking you, is because I want to cooperate with you on a certain matter. As Tan Yin spoke, she raised her hand and set up several soundproof restrictions. Regardless of how Ning Qing and Rong Jin ridiculed each other, the news of the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's headmaster Ning Qing and Rong Jin, 3 months later at the Heavenly Tao public square's sect surpassing censure, instantly spread out. Headmaster Ning should be aware that the Rainbow Falls Sword Sect was plotted against, and that someone had appeared with a spiritual vein, which led to the 4 Rainbow Falls Sword Sect's Grand Elder Taoists to leave, right? After Tan Yun set up the soundproof restriction, she still spoke in a very careful tone. I know, you can go back to the academy. There are some things happening in the academy, you don't have to worry about it, just focus on your cultivation. Ning Qing exhorted. Ning Qing quickly waved his hand and spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Tan, please sit down. I have already said that my Rainbow Falls Sword Sect and the Great Change Island are friends. It's a pity that my cultivation was too low at that time, and was unable to rescue your sister. I don't know how that Red Star Sword faction's Jiang Jun is now. Saying that, Rong Jin did not wait for Ning Qing to answer, as he turned around and instantly disappeared from the Heavenly Tao public square. Challenging a person with a lower cultivation than him, Rong Jin had to admit that he was stimulated by Ning Qing. As a headmaster of an academy, this Ning Qing did not have even half a shred of cultivation. Since he was a rogue cultivator with no upbringing, then there was no need for him, Rong Jin, to give him any face. Seeing Ning Qing looking at her, Tan Yun immediately understood that Ning Qing did not know about the sect-surpassing censure. Because of her younger sister Tan Yushan's matter, Tan Yun had investigated Ning Qing's origins. She knew that Ning Qing came from the Luk continent, moreover, he had not been in the Tian continent for a long time, as such it was normal for such a cultivator to not know about the sect-surpassing censure. What's more, This life and death duel was not only a matter between Ning Cheng and Rong Jin, but also a matter between the Yin Yang Dao sect and the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Starflower rest stop, this was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. In that case, you can go to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect first. If there are any disciples from the Look continent who have not found a sect, as long as they are willing, they can join the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Chapter 424. There is indeed such a thing. Moreover, my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's elder Taishang Shi also perished. Ning Cheng thought that Tan Yun already knew who the culprit was, and also did not conceal it. Actually, it is true that the Shattered Canopy Mountain has a spiritual vein. As Tan Yun spoke, her eyes were looking at Ning Cheng. Seeing Ning Cheng's calm expression, she asked with some doubts, "Did you know about this matter?" Ning Cheng smiled, "My Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Grand Elder is not an idiot. If it were a fake spiritual vein, would my Rainbow Fall Sword sect even have 4 Grand Elders? Also, in fact, many people know that the Shattered Canopy Mountain spiritual vein is real, but no one knows where this spiritual vein is located. The Shattered Canopy Mountains stretched for millions of miles and was one of the 3 major mountain ranges of the Tian continent. Coupled with the fact that the Shattered Canopy Mountains are filled with natural restrictions and monstrous beast caves, it is definitely not easy to find a spiritual vein concealed by a natural array formation." Dan Yun nodded and spoke. "I wonder why Senior Sister Dan is looking for me. This time, someone might be able to find the approximate location of the Shattered Canopy Mountain spiritual vein. At that time, many people would definitely try to snatch it. I hope that I can cooperate with Sect Master Ning and get a share of the pie." Ning Cheng showed a faint smile. "Senior Apprentice Sister Dan, I am just a cultivator at the early stages of the Sea Opening Realm, while you are just a cultivator at the first level of the Sea Opening Realm, which is even lower than me. Even if I could kill an ordinary Crucible Transformation cultivator, do you think that we would be able to snatch the spiritual vein from the hands of so many people? Besides, your Great Change Island should have a lot of Crucible Transformation cultivators, right? Although I have always regarded Senior Apprentice Sister Dan as a friend, but I do not believe that Senior Apprentice Sister Dan's trust in me is even more than the trust in the Crucible Transformation cultivators of the Great Change Island." Ning Cheng did not have anything to hide, it was a fact. Even if he was more powerful, in the end, he was only equivalent to a Crucible Transformation cultivator. There were definitely cultivators stronger than him on the Great Change Island. Would Dan Yun give up the easy and ask for the difficult? Would she rather give the benefits to him? Therefore, he didn't even bother to ask who could find the location of the spirit vein. Tan Yun seemed to be aware of Ning Cheng's thoughts, as she gave out a sigh and spoke, "I did not want to speak about the matters within the academy. If my father was still in the academy, then even if the Red Star Sword faction was even more ruthless, even if Jiang Jun's backer was even more powerful, my Great Change Island would still have forced the Red Star Sword faction to hand over Jiang Jun. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to make them listen to me. I can only rely on myself. Besides, this spiritual vein was obtained by the Academy's Crucible Transformation Elder, this." Tan Yun did not continue, but Ning Cheng already understood the meaning behind the other party's words. The internal structure of the Great Change Island was not a monolithic monolith. Jiang Jun had killed Tan Yun's younger sister, Tan Yushan, and there was already ironclad evidence. Yet, the Great Change Island was still unable to force the Red Star Sword faction to hand over Jiang Jun. This indicated that there was definitely something strange going on. Tan Yun's cultivation was too low, and since the academy had not reached an agreement, she was powerless to do anything. Once Tan Yun asked the academy's elders to come forward and seize the spiritual vein, not to mention whether or not they could obtain the spiritual vein, even if they could obtain it, they would at least get a portion of it from the academy. If Tan Yun wanted to take revenge by herself, then she would have to obtain the spiritual vein by herself. Tan Yun's words caused Ning Cheng to feel somewhat disappointed. He was looking forward to attacking the Red Star Sword faction in the future. He did not expect that the Great Change Island would turn out to be so weak. If someone from the Red Star Sword faction had killed a disciple from the Rainbow Falls Sword sect, then with conclusive evidence, Ning Cheng would absolutely demand the Red Star Sword faction to hand over the culprit. Even if the other party did not hand it over, he would still make a public statement that he would definitely destroy the Red Star Sword faction in the future. In contrast, the Great Change Island truly was weak. No wonder Tan Yun wanted to forcibly advance to the first level of the sea-opening realm. If she wanted to avenge her little sister, then she could only rely on herself. Seeing Ning Cheng somewhat disappointed, Tan Yun continued, "Your cultivation is higher than me, equivalent to a crucible transformation cultivator. This time, I will provide the information, while you provide the main force. No matter how many spiritual veins you obtain, you can just give me a third of it." "I understand. You can tell me who can find the spiritual vein, and how did you know about it?" Ning Cheng had already decided to join forces with Tan Yun. Tan Yun was not greedy, she only wanted a third. If she wanted to divide it equally, then Ning Cheng would definitely not agree. "How I came to know about it, I cannot tell you. I can only tell you that the one who took action was the Tian Continent's premier array formation Grand Master, Wu Mao. This time, 3 crucible transformation cultivators came looking for him. They were prepared to join forces to find the spiritual vein. After finding the spiritual vein, they would divide it into 5 portions, with Wu Mao taking 2. If we cooperate, then we just need to follow them." Tan Yun spoke with certainty. "Okay, I agree. When do we set off?" Ning Cheng could see that Tan Yun was not lying, and was telling the truth. Ning Cheng also knew about this person called Wu Mao. He was indeed the Tian Continent's premier array formation Grand Master. He had heard that he could arrange rank 9 array formations. Moreover, his strength was also extremely powerful, with the cultivation of crucible transformation 4th level. "Let's go now, then hide in the Shattered Canopy Mountains. Once Wu Mao and the others arrive, we can carefully follow them." Tan Yun spoke without hesitation. The Shattered Canopy Mountain, just like its name suggested, had an endless mountain range that covered almost everything. Some rogue cultivators were searching for some low-leveled monstrous beasts and spiritual grasses at the edge of the Shattered Canopy Mountains. From time to time, bursts of beast roars could be heard coming from the depths of the mountain range. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was also greatly reduced in this kind of place. After Ning Cheng arrived at this place, he finally understood why the top cultivators could not even find a single spiritual vein. Wanting to find a spiritual vein in this place was indeed very difficult. Tan Yun obviously had not come to the Shattered Canopy Mountains for the first time, as such, she was very familiar with this place. Even after leading Ning Cheng for half a day, they did not encounter even a single monstrous beast blocking their way. "We will hide here." Tan Yun stopped next to a large patch of thorns and spoke. "How did you know that they would come here?" "The Shattered Canopy Mountains are simply too big. If they did not meet here, wouldn't it be a waste of our time?" Ning Cheng asked in doubt. "They will definitely meet here. The news that I obtained is that they will meet at the entrance of the Mist Gorge. The entrance to the Mist Gorge is just in front of us. Our cultivations are a bit lacking, as such we can only hide our auras and hide here. We cannot get too close." Saying that, Tan Yun took out a medicinal pill and handed it to Ning Cheng. "This is a form-changing pill. It can change a person's appearance and aura for 24 hours. This pill is very rare. Once they find the spiritual vein, we can just grab it and leave. As long as you block them for 10 breaths of time, I am confident that I can intercept a part of the spiritual vein, and then we can meet at the agreed place." The form-changing pill was a rank 7 medicinal pill, which was very precious for Tan Yun. However, Ning Cheng had a bottle of it in his storage ring. However, he still put away Tan Yun's form-changing pill and asked, "Are you going to use a talisman to escape?" Tan Yun nodded. yes, I can only walk away alone. I believe that once the spiritual vein appears, they will definitely focus on the spiritual vein, and will not besiege you. At that time, it would be the best time for you to escape. Of course, if you feel that you are not sure, you can also withdraw now. No, I agree. Since I am going to get a bigger share of the spiritual vein, it is only natural for me to bear a bigger risk. Ning Cheng spoke up without hesitation. He possessed the twin wings of the heavenly fate. If he could not escape from the siege of a few crucible transformation cultivators, then he might as well buy a piece of tofu. With Ning Cheng and Tan Yun concealing their auras and hiding under the thistles and thorns, the surroundings once again regained its tranquility, without even a single sound. A day passed by in this way. Tan Yun had spoken about the Mist Gorge, but not even a single person's shadow came to this place. Even monstrous beasts did not pass through this place. As the second and third day passed by, Ning Cheng was not in a hurry. Not to mention hiding for 3 days, even if he had to hide for 30 days, he would not care. Tan Yun, however, could not help it. It was reasonable to say that someone would come the next day. Now that 3 or 4 days had passed, could it be that they were too late, and Wu Mao and the others had already left? Tan Yun was just about to send a sound transmission to Ning Cheng, when Ning Cheng made a gesture to her. Tan Yun quickly stopped the sound transmission and concealed her aura. She soon discovered that there was another layer of concealment covering her body. She immediately understood that Ning Cheng did not believe in her concealment technique, and had helped her add another layer of concealment. Ning Cheng truly did not believe in Tan Yun's concealment cultivation method. This place was very close to the Mist Gorge, and Tan Yun's aura was somewhat overflowing. He did not want to fight against 4 crucible transformation cultivators. After a few breaths, 2 Taoist shadows landed at the entrance of the Mist Gorge. After these 2 Taoist shadows landed, their spiritual consciousnesses instantly swept out. Feeling the powerful spiritual consciousnesses, Ning Cheng secretly felt that it was a close call. Fortunately, he had helped Tan Yun add a layer of concealment. At this moment, he did not observe the appearance and cultivation of these 2 cultivators. Although he believed that his spiritual consciousness would not be discovered, he did not want to do such a meaningless thing. If he tried to observe the other party's concentration, then in case he was discovered, it would be a waste of all his efforts. These 2 spiritual consciousnesses apparently did not care much about it. After sweeping through the thistles and thorns covering Ning Cheng and Tan Yun, they quickly withdrew. The 2 of them did not have to wait for long, when another Taoist shadow arrived. The 3 of them whispered a few words together, and after the time it took for an incense stick to burn, the 4th Taoist shadow landed. After the 4 of them gathered together, they only exchanged a few words before they instantly entered the Mist Gorge. Ning Cheng did not immediately follow them. Instead, he sent a sound transmission to Tan Yun, "Wait for me. Don't go more than 10 steps behind me. At the same time, do not use your spiritual consciousness to track the 4 people in front of you. Leave the tracking to me." In fact, Ning Cheng wanted Tan Yun to leave immediately, while he followed them alone. However, he also knew that Tan Yun would not leave. She did not trust him that much. "Okay, I know." Tan Yun replied without hesitation. She was secretly rejoicing in her heart that she had asked Ning Cheng for help. She had overestimated her concealment technique and cultivation. If not for Ning Cheng's help, even if she hid here without being discovered, she would not have been able to track the 4 people in front of her. Ning Cheng was extremely careful with his spiritual consciousness. Although he only had the cultivation of 3rd level of Sea Opening Realm, his spiritual consciousness was not the spiritual consciousness of a Sea Opening Realm cultivator. Not only that, but because of the mysterious yellow formless cultivation method, his spiritual consciousness could also become invisible and formless. Tracking 4 crucible transformation cultivators, as long as he was careful, there would not be any problems. What surprised Ning Cheng was that he knew one of the 4 people. It was a beautiful woman, Sang Jieju of the Floating Snow Palace. This Sang Jieju was said to be the seventh palace master of the Floating Snow Palace. She was also the woman who had gone to the Severing Emotions Dao sect to help him, allowing Yin Kongchan to marry him. One of the other three was a middle-aged cultivator with a long beard, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 6th level. The other was a short and thin man, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 5th level. The fourth person was the one that attracted Ning Cheng's attention the most. This was a cultivator with a red face holding a compass in his hand, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 4th level. Ning Cheng, from the gestures of this person, as well as the continuous action of throwing out array flags, guessed that this person was definitely the Tian continent's premier array formation Grand Master, Wu Mao. Chapter 425. Wu Mao's group of four seemed to be maintaining a certain distance from each other, but what made Ning Cheng puzzled was that the spiritual consciousness of these four people rarely paid attention to the situation around them. Sang Jieju and the other two were using their spiritual consciousness to help Wu Mao. Although these three people were not array formation masters, but Wu Mao still needed their spiritual consciousness to assist him. Relying on Wu Mao's spiritual consciousness alone, it was impossible to pinpoint the location of the spiritual vein. Knowing that the other three people also had to use their spiritual consciousness to support Wu Mao, Ning Cheng's courage grew a bit bigger. Not only did he use his spiritual consciousness to track Wu Mao's group of four, but he also used his spiritual consciousness from time to time to observe Wu Mao's gestures and the array flags that he threw out. As time passed, Ning Cheng began to admire Wu Mao more and more. Whether it was the method of arranging the array flags or the understanding of the spiritual seeking array, this fellow far surpassed him. Moreover, the compass in Wu Mao's hand was not simple. Combined with his array formation, he could capture the main direction of the hidden spirit vein. Ning Cheng wholeheartedly immersed himself in Wu Mao's array formation method, to the point that he even somewhat forgot himself. This kind of spirit-seeking array was even more complicated and vast than the mountain-guarding array. At this time, Tan Yun suddenly grabbed him, causing Ning Cheng to feel shocked in his heart and immediately stopped. Fortunately, he reacted quickly. Knowing that Tan Yun did not have any killing intent, he chose not to act. Tan Yun did not dare to send out a sound transmission, nor did she say anything. She just used an anxious look to signal Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had already read the meaning behind Tan Yun's eyes, that is, he had followed them too closely. However, Ning Cheng felt a burst of apprehension in his heart. This was definitely not because he was following them too closely. Ning Cheng did not continue to follow them, while the four people arranging the array formation in front of him were also getting further and further away from Ning Cheng. After a full hour, Ning Cheng motioned for Tan Yun to carefully follow him and leave their original position. Phew! Ning Cheng slowly let out a sigh, and whispered, "Many thanks to you just now." Just a moment ago, he was so engrossed in Wu Mao's array formation technique that he had forgotten what he had come here for. Only after Tan Yun hinted at him did he suddenly sober up. Wu Mao was an array formation grandmaster, and he was trapped in his array formation. Even if he followed him, he would still be discovered. Moreover, the reason why he was so alarmed was because Wu Mao had added a hidden touch array within the spirit-seeking array. If he continued to stay behind and observe Wu Mao setting up the array, he would be discovered by Wu Mao as soon as Wu Mao finished touching the array. "It's nothing. I just feel that we are following them too closely." Tan Yun did not notice that they had touched the array. "You're very lucky. It's not because it's too close, but because Wu Mao is very shameless. He even set up a contact array in the spirit-seeking array. Once his contact array closes, we'll definitely be discovered." Tan Yun's complexion changed. Only after a good while did she speak up with some lingering fear, "Fortunately, I looked for you to help me. Otherwise, I would have died without even knowing how I died. Don't worry, since I was already aware of him touching the array, it is absolutely impossible for him to fool me." Ning Cheng sneered. Wu Mao's array formation level was indeed much higher than his, but he had his own advantages. He didn't need to set up an array formation, he just needed to avoid Wu Mao's array formation and continue tracking him. Junior apprentice Sister Yan Ji, if you had cultivated in my floating snow palace from the beginning, I estimate that you would have already become one of the youngest crucible transformation cultivators in the Tian continent. Your qualifications are truly amazing. After seeing the speed and efficiency of Yan Ji's spiritual qi absorption and spiritual qi conversion, Yin Kongchan pulled Yan Ji's hand and spoke with a very emotional tone. Yan Ji quickly replied, "Senior apprentice Sister Yin is overpraising me. My qualifications were only able to improve because of a few opportunities. Although my cultivation speed was not slow, it was also far from being outstanding." Yin Kongchan nodded and spoke, "No matter what the reason is, it is still your capital. What's more, you are so beautiful. In a few years, you will definitely become famous throughout the Tian continent. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, I suggest that when you choose a master, you should choose the 7th Palace Master. The 7th Palace Master would definitely have a great harvest when she goes out this time. As her disciples, we can also follow behind and bask in the limelight." Yan Ji's face immediately turned red. "Senior apprentice Sister Yin is overpraising me. My coarse appearance is far from being comparable to senior apprentice Sister Yin. As for a master, how could I be qualified to choose?" Yan Ji's mind was obviously not in the words that she wanted to say. As she spoke, her face was somewhat bashful, as if there was something that she was embarrassed to say. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, do you have anything to say? We will be fellow apprentice sisters in the future, if you have anything to say, then just say it directly." Yin Kongchan did not like to talk too much with outsiders. She had a natural favorable impression towards Yan Ji. Yan Ji finally mustered up the courage to speak up. "Senior apprentice Sister Yin, I want to ask you about a person." Yin Kongchan was also a woman, so when she saw Yan Ji's bashful face, and felt Yan Ji's heartbeat suddenly accelerate, she immediately knew what was going on. She gave a slight smile and spoke, "I don't know who it is, but for Junior apprentice Sister Ji to fall in love with him, this guy really has a great luck." Yan Ji also knew that she was not able to hide her thoughts, and simply spoke up, "Senior apprentice Sister Yin, I heard people say that you and Ningqing are very familiar. I want to inquire about him. Where did Ningqing go? Is it him?" Yin Kongchan, on hearing the two words Ningqing, suddenly felt a little absent-minded. A well-defined face appeared in front of her, but the most unforgettable thing was that pair of eyes. That pair of eyes stared at you, as if they wanted to see into your heart, so much so that you would ignore his slightly slanted sword-like eyebrows, and his straight nose. When it came to good looks, she had seen many young men who were more handsome and charming than Ningqing. But Ningqing was able to leave an eternal impression in her heart, not because of anything else, but because of his eyes. His eyes were like the windows to the entire sky, and could see through everything. From his eyes, one could see many things, but it also seemed as if one could not see anything. Or rather, his eyes were not the windows to the entire sky, but the windows to him alone. She had this kind of feeling, because she did not dare to look into his eyes. That's right, she did not dare to look at him, as if even a trace of her thoughts would be seen through by him. "Senior apprentice Sister Yin." Yan Ji called out in a puzzled voice. She just wanted to ask where Ningqing was going. If she knew then he would tell her, if she did not know then it would not matter. Senior apprentice Sister Yin's performance seemed a little strange. Did Senior apprentice Sister Yin have the same thoughts as her? That should not be possible, right? "Oh, yes, I know Ningqing. He was plotted against by the Severing Emotions Dao sect Suingde, and then left the Yixing mainland." Yin Kongchan did not know about the matter of Ningqing coming back and showing off his invincible might. She knew that Ningqing had gone to the Sifting Orchid Star, but she did not want to tell Yan Ji about it. Even if she told Yan Ji, it would not help Yan Ji at all. The Sifting Orchid Star was just too dangerous. Going there was easy, but coming back was just too difficult. Suing Day. Yan Ji repeated the words. She had been in the Tian continent for a long time, but she did not know that Ning Cheng was in the Tian continent, so she had never inquired about these things. Coupled with the fact that she and a group of cultivators from the Lu continent knew that the Tian continent was dangerous, they rarely went out to show off, as such they did not know anything about Ning Cheng. Yes, Su Yingde is a true inheriting disciple of the Severing Emotions Dao sect. After this woman used Ning Cheng to sever her emotions, she then plotted against Ning Cheng. Is senior apprentice brother Ning alright? Not waiting for Yin Kongchan to finish, Yan Ji interrupted Yin Kongchan's words in panic. Yin Kongchan shook her head. No, I heard that Su Yingde's master, Shi Qianghua, saved Ning Cheng, and then she and Ning Cheng became Dao companions, before the two left the Yixing mainland. Senior apprentice brother Ning is already married. Yan Ji suddenly found that her body was a little soft. She wanted to forcibly raise her essence, qi and spirit, but was unable to do so. Yin Kongchan sighed, as she grabbed Yan Ji's hand and spoke in a soft voice, Junior apprentice sister Ji, this kind of thing called fate is something that is hard to force. If it exists then it exists, if it doesn't then it doesn't exist. Ning Cheng is indeed good, but in the future, if we can rush out of the Yixing mainland, then we might find that there are even more outstanding people. Yan Ji tried to calm her voice down. Senior apprentice sister Yin, you misunderstood my meaning. She was not looking for a man to be her Dao companion, she was looking for Ning Cheng, but senior apprentice sister Yin would never understand her meaning. Yin Kongchan gave a sigh. She really wanted to say, I did not misunderstand your meaning, but she knew that it would not be good to say such words. Senior apprentice sister Yin, I want to go into seclusion to attack the soul sculpting realm. Once I advance to the soul sculpting realm, then I will come out to formally acknowledge you as my master. As Yan Ji spoke those words, she immediately regained her calm. This was already the 11th day that Ning Cheng and Tan Yun had been tracking Wu Mao's group of 4. Even with Ning Cheng's powerful spiritual consciousness, he still felt a trace of exhaustion. Moreover, Wu Mao, who was in front of them, seemed to know no exhaustion, and was still constantly sprinkling out array flags. Ning Cheng's way of tracking was different from others. He was proficient in array formations, moreover he was also a Tier 7 array formation Grand Master. Not only could he track them, but he could also detect any traces of spiritual aura from Wu Mao's spiritual seeking array. Even if it was just a little bit of spiritual aura that appeared in the array formation, Ning Cheng would be able to detect it. But now Ning Cheng had caught a sudden trace of spiritual aura. This was definitely not the spiritual chi aura of a spirit stone, it was just a faintly discernible trace. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this was definitely the aura of a spiritual vein. He immediately stopped, while his heart started to pound wildly. He did not think that Wu Mao would have such a great ability, to actually find a spiritual vein. Not only did he find it, but his speed was also so fast. Tan Yun on seeing Ning Cheng stop, also stopped. Ning Cheng did not move, the spiritual vein was hidden underground, and through this trace of spiritual aura found by the spiritual seeking array, Wu Mao would definitely be able to follow this trace of spiritual aura into the ground, and find the specific location of the spiritual vein. At this time, not to mention Wu Mao, even if he was the tracker, he would be able to find the location of the spiritual vein by following this trace of spiritual aura. Ning Cheng was originally waiting for Wu Mao to start searching for the spiritual vein, but he found that Wu Mao did not seem to have found it, and still continued to move forward. Seng Jieju and the other two were obviously not proficient in array formations, as such they were not able to find the trace of spiritual aura from the spiritual seeking array. As Wu Mao moved forward, the three of them also moved forward together. What was going on? Ning Cheng suddenly froze. This array formation was arranged by Wu Mao. Since he found the trace of the spiritual vein, then there was no reason for Wu Mao not to know about it. So why was he still doing something useless? Oh. Chapter 426. This idea just spun around in Ning Cheng's mind, before Ning Cheng suddenly understood. Wu Mao wanted to keep the spirit vein for himself. After he found the location of the spirit vein, not only did he not stop, he continued to lead the others forward. This showed that he had no intention of sharing the spirit vein with the others. What a cunning fellow, but no matter how cunning you are, you still have to drink the water I wash my feet with. What's wrong? Tan Yun carefully asked with a sound transmission. That Wu Mao has found the aura of the spirit vein, but this fellow is still pretending not to have found it. It would be the best if we wait for them to go far away, then we can just grab it and leave. Ning Cheng did not hide anything from Tan Yun. Since he was cooperating with Tan Yun, there was no gap between the two sides. As such, Ning Cheng did not intend to trap Tan Yun. But Ning Cheng had not finished his words, when he suddenly stopped. He felt that something was wrong. Tan Yun felt pleasantly surprised and was just about to speak when she suddenly heard Ning Cheng's voice, "Senior Apprentice Sister Tan, I feel something wrong. If I were him, after I discovered the aura of the spirit vein, even if I wanted to monopolize it." Ning Cheng's words suddenly paused, and then he spoke in an affirmative tone, "Senior Apprentice Sister Dan, Wu Mao is a Tier 9 array formation Grand Master, moreover his cultivation is also far superior to mine, but after he discovered the aura of the spiritual vein, not only did he not check the surrounding situation, he did not even sweep out with his spiritual consciousness. This is not normal, huh? What's going on?" Tan Yun asked with a trembling voice. She also felt that this matter had gone too smoothly. "I understand." Ning Cheng spoke in a cold tone. Previously, he was still thinking that the spirit-seeking array that Wu Mao had set up along the way could be simplified a little, because many of the two array flags could be replaced by one. Previously, he did not care about it. After all, he had too much confidence in his mysterious yellow formless. It was normal for others to be unable to compare to the things that he had deduced. At this moment, he finally realized that he had been too arrogant. Wu Mao's extra array flags were not placed for no reason, but could be used at any time, and could be arranged into a forbidden space array formation in the shortest possible time. With all these things linked together, how could Ning Cheng not know that he and Tan Yun had already been discovered a long time ago? It's just that Wu Mao and the others had yet to make their move. The other party had only wanted to kill him and Tan Yun in one fell swoop the moment he snatched away the spiritual vein. There were many kinds of forbidden space array formations. With Wu Mao's array formation skills, he could easily lock down Tan Yun and use the talismans to escape. "Senior Apprentice Sister Dan, do you believe me?" Ning Cheng did not explain these things and directly asked. Tan Yun spoke up without hesitation, "Sect Master Ning, if I did not believe in you, I would not have chosen to cooperate with you. Don't ask such questions again." "Good, then I ask Senior Apprentice Sister Dan to immediately leave this place quietly, and at the same time rush out of the Shattered Canopy Mountains as fast as possible. 3 months later, we will meet at the Heavenly Tao Public Square. If I manage to obtain the spiritual vein, I promise that I will give 1/3 of it to Senior Apprentice Sister Dan." Tan Yun also did not speak any nonsense. "Good, then let's do it this way." Tan Yun did not even ask for the reason and directly agreed. Ning Cheng felt very satisfied with Tan Yun's attitude. He then took out a jade bottle and handed it to Tan Yun before speaking, "This is a gift for Senior Apprentice Sister Tan looking for me to cooperate with you. Senior Apprentice Sister Tan's cultivation is progressing too quickly, causing her foundation to be unstable. You really need this kind of thing. Spiritual enhancement True Nectar." Tan Yun's spiritual consciousness immediately swept out and found what it was, causing her to speak up in surprise. She was just about to ask Ning Cheng to purchase some of this. Because her foundation was truly unstable, she did not expect that Ning Cheng would take the initiative to give it to her. Tan Yun also did not speak any nonsense, as she put away the spiritual enhancement True Nectar and spoke a few words to be careful, before instantly retreating from the route that Ning Cheng had pointed out. After Tan Yun left, Ning Cheng did not immediately start. He still observed the array flags left behind by Wu Mao. Once surrounded by 4 crucible transformation cultivators, even if he did not die, he would definitely lose a layer of his skin. After a while, Ning Qing gave out a sigh. He found that he had not seen everything before. This array formation not only contained the forbidden space array formation that was not activated, but it also contained a series of traps. That is, there was also a destruction array formation that was concealed to the extreme. If not for his meticulousness, knowing that the other party had already discovered his tracks, he would not have been able to see these things. Once he went in to look for the spiritual vein, Wu Mao would definitely discover him immediately, causing the 4 people to besiege him. In that case, the spiritual seeking array formation arranged by Wu Mao would be completely destroyed, causing the location of the spiritual vein to disappear. That was too dangerous. No, Ning Qing once again found that there were some problems with his thinking. Wu Mao had already discovered him. However, Wu Mao already wanted to kill him, so why did he still take off his pants to fart and arrange a destruction array formation? Even before he started cultivating, Ning Qing was already very smart, not to mention that after he started cultivating, he even fused with the mysterious yellow origin. In just a short period of time, Ning Qing was able to figure out what was going on. The spiritual aura that he had discovered a moment ago was fake, it was something that Wu Mao had deliberately let him feel. Moreover, Wu Mao had already discovered the real spiritual vein's aura, it was just that Ning Qing had not discovered it. When Wu Mao started to attack him, all the spiritual seeking array formations arranged by Wu Mao would definitely disappear. Although the spiritual seeking array formations arranged by Wu Mao had already disappeared, Wu Mao had already known the location of the spiritual vein. After fighting with him, the spiritual seeking array formations would be destroyed, allowing Wu Mao to use the excuse that he was too tired and come back next time. Then the next time he would definitely come alone. In the end, Wu Mao still wanted to swallow the spiritual vein for himself. For Wu Mao, he was just a cannon fodder that he could use. Using him and Tan Yun to destroy the spiritual seeking array, he could then justifiably go back and rest. Seng Jizhu and the others would also not be able to blame him. From the looks of it, Wu Mao was the only one who had discovered him and Tan Yun. This person was truly sinister, truly worthy to be called the Tian Continent's premier law grandmaster. If he only had a clever brain, and was not an array formation grandmaster, then he would have definitely fallen into this person's scheme. Ning Qing did not move, while his spiritual consciousness was tracking Wu Mao, while at the same time he was looking for the place behind him. He was sure that the place he had passed through had the aura of the spiritual vein's aura. At this time, Ning Qing did not dare to continue to track Wu Mao. Of the 4 people in front of him, only Wu Mao knew that he was following them. If he did not move, then Wu Mao would not be able to find an excuse to make a move on him. If he moved, then Wu Mao would quickly take the opportunity to say that someone was following him, and immediately destroy the spiritual seeking array formations. Because Ning Qing's spiritual consciousness was once again searching for the situation behind him, it became even clearer. In just the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Ning Qing found a different place. The position of the spiritual leading array flags in this place was somewhat off. When arranging a spiritual leading array formation, even if a few spiritual leading array flags had a slight deviation, it would not affect the overall situation, because as long as the spiritual seeking array was arranged, the general direction would still be revealed. But Wu Mao was an array formation master, how could the spiritual leading array flags have any deviation? This is the place, Ning Qing finally made up his mind. If this place was not the place, then he could only sigh that he was not as cunning as Wu Mao, this spiritual vein and him were not fated. Ning Qing retreated all the way, while at the same time throwing down several array flags. When he arrived in front of the deviated spiritual leading array flag, he did not hesitate to throw down another spiritual leading array flag. The moment Ning Qing threw down the spiritual leading array flag, a faintly discernible spiritual aura was immediately caught by Ning Qing. Ning Qing was ecstatic in his heart, he really had not guessed wrong, this place really was the place. It seems that Wu Mao still underestimated him. If he had not underestimated him, then this guy would have placed a few deviated spiritual leading array flags, and he would not have been able to do anything about it. If he wanted to use him as cannon fodder, then he would have to have the awareness of being cannon fodder. Ning Cheng was sure that as long as he took away this spiritual vein, Wu Mao would definitely not be able to escape the role of cannon fodder. The other three people were not fools, and could 100% guess the reason for this. Ning Cheng did not even think about it, as he put away the spiritual leading array flags, and using the earth escape technique, he immediately disappeared without a trace. Not good, we are being followed. Wu Mao felt that Ning Cheng had disappeared into the earth, causing him to feel anxious. Just as Ning Cheng thought, as long as Ning Cheng went to the fake spiritual aura, he would immediately expose Ning Cheng, and then the few of them would attack together. Not only would they kill Ning Cheng, but they would also be able to openly destroy all the traces that he had been looking for. But what made him angry, was that this guy who had been following him had actually found the location of the real spiritual vein. How could he tolerate this? He had worked so hard, but in the end it was all a wedding dress for others. What? Wu Mao's words suddenly made the other three people shocked. The reason why Wu Mao was willing to cooperate with them, was because the three of them had spent a lot of effort to find the general direction of the spiritual vein. If someone was following them, wouldn't it be like drawing water with a wicker basket? However, the three of them did not think much about it, as they followed Wu Mao, and with their fastest speed rushed to the place where Ning Cheng had disappeared. At the same time, the three of them also followed Wu Mao and disappeared into the ground. As Ning Cheng went deeper and deeper into the earth, the aura of the spiritual vein became more and more distinct. But Ning Cheng was actually very anxious in his heart. He could feel that Wu Mao and the others had already caught up. Chapter 427. Knowing that it was inevitable for the three people behind him to fight for the spiritual vein, Ning Cheng swallowed a form-changing pill. Even if the other party guessed who he was, he would still have to change his appearance and aura. Guessing and affirming were two different things. After taking the form-changing pill, Ning Cheng instantly changed his aura, while his appearance also changed to that of a bearded middle-aged man. As Ning Cheng went deeper and deeper, he could sense the huge concealment array formation underground more and more clearly. If not for Wu Mao's help, Ning Cheng felt that he would not have been able to find this place. Now that he had found the concealment array formation, it would not be difficult for Ning Cheng to enter the concealment array formation to find the spiritual vein. If it was not difficult for him, then for Wu Mao, it would definitely be much easier. If it were any other cultivator, he would have immediately entered the concealment array formation to hide, but facing Wu Mao, this trick obviously would not work. Catcha! Ning Cheng directly brought out his Nirvana spear, without even half a bit of superfluous movement. A single spear strike blasted a hole in the concealment array formation. Although this concealment array formation was powerful, it did not have any defensive capabilities. Not to mention Ning Cheng, even an ordinary cultivator would be able to blast it open. After the natural concealment array formation was blasted open, the rich aura of the spiritual vein instantly overflowed, causing the few people behind Ning Cheng to perceive it at the same time. Originally, the three of them were following behind Wu Mao, but now that Ning Cheng broke the concealment array formation, the aura of the spiritual vein overflowed. No one was willing to follow behind Wu Mao, and immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng blasted open the concealment array formation, he also saw a huge underground space, with a huge mountain-like spiritual vein in front of him. This was an incomplete spiritual vein, but this spiritual vein was exuding a strong spiritual aura, which made Ning Cheng sure that this was not a low-grade spiritual vein. However, the spiritual vein was broken into 3 pieces, one of which had disappeared, but there were still some vague traces of it. As for the other 2 pieces, one was a few hundred feet long, while the other was only a few dozen feet long. Ning Cheng did not hesitate for even half a moment, and directly threw out an array flag. encircling the hundreds of feet long spiritual vein, while at the same time madly pulling it into his miniature world. Boom boom boom. After the spiritual vein was pulled, it gave out a violent sound, causing the entire shattered Song Mountain to tremble slightly. Buzz. Ning Cheng had not yet pulled away the spiritual vein, when a meteor-like killing light arrived in front of Ning Cheng's eyes. Ning Cheng brought out his Nirvana spear and blasted it against the killing light, resulting in a loud explosion. The huge impact force caused Ning Cheng to directly spit out a mouthful of blood, but even so, Ning Cheng did not take even half a step back. Swish swish. 4 figures appeared almost at the same time around Ning Cheng, surrounding Ning Cheng. But at this time, Ning Cheng just happened to put away the several hundred feet long spiritual vein, leaving behind only the several dozen feet long spiritual vein in this underground space. Ning Cheng did not touch this small spiritual vein, he knew that he did not have the opportunity to do so. He relied on the fact that he was one step ahead and was attacked by others. Furthermore, he was proficient in array formations. That was how he managed to get his hands on this several hundred feet long spirit vein. Now, his task was not to find another section of the spirit vein, but to find a way to get there. As for being recognized by the other 4 people, Ning Cheng knew that it was only a matter of time, and it was a definite thing. After all, there were not many array formation Grand Masters in the Tian continent. Moreover, with the level of array formations that he had shown, there was no point in hiding it. Therefore, he did not even bother to hide his Nirvana spear. Even if the other party knew that it was Ning Cheng who did it, they could not do anything about it. This kind of ownerless thing, whoever had the ability would be able to snatch it. In this place, if your strength was far stronger than your opponent, and you wanted to find trouble with the other party, even if you did not have a good reason, you could still create a reason out of nothing. If your strength was not enough to crush the other party, then even if you obtained conclusive evidence, you would still have to endure it. It was just like how the Great Change Island treated the Red Star Sword faction. Moreover, Ning Cheng had taken the form-changing pill, as such the other party could only make guesses and could not be sure that he was Ning Cheng. Put that thing down, and then fuck off. The one who spoke was the long-bearded cultivator at the Crucible Transformation 6th level. His cultivation was also the highest in this place. Ning Cheng noticed that Wu Mao had blocked his way out, and intentionally or unintentionally dropped some array flags. Sang Jieju and that short and thin Crucible Transformation 5th level cultivator were standing on top of the several dozen feet long spiritual vein. Although it looked like they were trying to intercept him, but Ning Cheng was sure that once he escaped, Sang Jieju and that short and thin cultivator would immediately divide up the small section of the spiritual vein. Put that thing down, me and brother you will definitely not do anything to you, otherwise, it would only be a dead end for you. Wu Mao once again dropped a few array flags and spoke out in a cold voice. Dream on, even if it is just a small section of the spiritual vein, I will take it away. Ning Cheng knew what Wu Mao was thinking, as he directly rushed towards the spiritual vein under the feet of Sang Jieju and that short and thin Crucible Transformation cultivator. Courting death. The long-bearded cultivator angrily called out. He did not expect Ning Cheng to be so bold and greedy. Not only did he not take out the several hundred feet long spiritual vein, but he also wanted to take away the remaining small section of the spiritual vein. It was simply shameless to the extreme. Even Sang Jieju and that short and thin cultivator, who were standing on top of the small section of the spiritual vein, did not think that Ning Cheng would continue to snatch the remaining small section of the spiritual vein. The 4 people, at this moment, were completely enraged and simultaneously attacked Ning Cheng. Countless magical techniques shot towards Ning Cheng, but the moment Ning Cheng approached the spiritual vein, his figure suddenly faded. Not good, he wants to escape. The short and thin cultivator was the first to react and immediately shouted out. Bang! Even if Ning Cheng's speed was fast, even if he deliberately snatched the remaining spiritual vein, and then suddenly used a teleportation to escape, he still ended up hit by several true essence lights on his back. Ning Cheng once again spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, before disappearing without a trace. If Wu Mao was not a more powerful array formation Grand Master than him, then even if Ning Cheng wanted to escape, he would not end up in such a sorry state. What Ning Cheng feared the most was that he and the other three people would end up fighting, while Wu Mao arranged an array formation on the side. He did not care about the array formations arranged by other people, but if Wu Mao arranged an array formation, then he would not be able to ignore it. Therefore, Ning Cheng would rather suffer a blow, but he still had to escape. What's more, he had already seen that while he was collecting the spiritual vein, Wu Mao had sealed off the surroundings with array flags. The only place he could escape from was to go back the same way he came. If he did not go back the way he came, then he would have to face the joint attacks of the several people. It turned out to be a teleportation. Fortunately, he is already seriously injured, as such he could not have gone far. The short crucible transformation 5th level cultivator called out in shock. Not waiting for the short cultivator to finish his words, Wu Mao and the long-bearded cultivator had already started chasing after him. This is not a teleportation, rather he has a kind of teleportation-type magical weapon. It is most likely the refined twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. As Sang Jieju spoke, she chopped off the remaining dozens of feet of spiritual vein. We'll split it in half. Sang Jieju finished speaking, as she put away the part of the spiritual vein that she had cut off. Palace Master Sang's methods are good, you unexpectedly did not chase after him. The short and thin crucible transformation cultivator gave a smile, and did not speak much to Sang Jieju, as he put away the rest of the spiritual vein. Sang Jieju showed a faint smile, but did not answer at all. She turned around and unexpectedly walked in another direction, disappearing without a trace in a blink of an eye. With Wu Mao gone, the simple entrapment array that he had temporarily arranged here was not enough to bind Sang Jieju. How could she not understand the words of the short cultivator? This person clearly knew that Ning Cheng did not use a teleportation, yet he said that it was a teleportation, and then said that Ning Cheng was seriously injured. Ning Cheng possessed a few hundred feet of spiritual vein, as well as the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Even if she was at the crucible transformation 6th level, she would still be able to catch up to him. If the three of them were to catch up, then the remaining several dozen feet of spiritual vein would all belong to this person. As for Wu Mao and the long-bearded cultivator, one was an array formation Grand Master, while the other was at the crucible transformation 6th level. The two of them, of course, were not willing to split the several dozen feet of spiritual vein between the four of them, as such they wanted to catch up to Ning Cheng. However, for Sang Jieju, she was already very satisfied with the several dozen feet of spiritual vein. Moreover, the few people who came here to form a partnership, plus the cultivator who escaped, none of them were good to provoke. Wu Mao must have discovered the spiritual vein a long time ago, but still pretended not to know about it. If not for the fellow who rushed out midway, the three of them might have worked themselves to the bone, only to help Wu Mao with his wedding dress. Ning Cheng did not guess wrong. After he came out from the place where he had escaped, he once again found himself surrounded by an entrapment array. As long as this entrapment array could trap him for 3 breaths of time, the Wu Mao duo would be able to catch up. Fortunately, Ning Cheng had already prepared a backup plan when he escaped through the earth. As soon as he came out, he immediately threw out several array flags. Although there was indeed an entrapment array arranged by Wu Mao, there was also an explosion array that he had left behind. After throwing out several array flags, a loud explosion sound erupted. In just 2 breaths of time, a gap appeared in Wu Mao's entrapment array. With a gentle wave of the twin wings of the heavenly clouds, Ning Cheng disappeared from the gap without a trace. At this time, Wu Mao and the other long-bearded cultivator at the crucible transformation 6th level had just come out. The two of them did not continue to chase after him. They knew that even if their cultivations were a bit higher, they would not be able to catch up to this person who possessed the twin wings of the heavenly clouds. Unfortunately, the two of them, in order to chase after Ning Cheng, did not even share the remaining spiritual vein. They had truly become people who were drawing water with a wicker basket. Wu Mao's complexion turned extremely ugly to look at. Elder brother Yu, even if this person's attainments in array formations are not as good as mine, he is at least on the level of a grand master. When did our Tian continent have such a powerful array formation grand master? The long-bearded cultivator at the Crucible Transformation 6th level stared in the direction where Ning Qing disappeared and spoke out in a cold voice, Elder Brother Wu, if it were not for your selfishness, how could such a thing happen to us? Wu Mao knew that there was no point in quibbling about this kind of thing, the other party was absolutely clear about it. He cupped his fists towards the long-bearded cultivator and spoke in a respectful voice, Elder Brother Yu, I was wrong in this matter. I am willing to take out a rank 8 entrapment array formation plate to apologize to Elder Brother Yu. The long-bearded cultivator knew that this was the only way. Wu Mao was a top-notch array formation grand master. For him to treat him in such a manner was already giving him a lot of face. He pondered for a moment before speaking, I do not know who this person is. I only know that the Rainbow Falls Sword sect has a very young sect master by the name of Ning Cheng. He is proficient in array formations, and his cultivation is not any weaker than Crucible Transformation cultivators. Moreover, he even has a long spear as his magical weapon. At the same time, I also know that the Tian continent has a rank 7 pill called the Form-Changing Pill. Chapter 428. Ning Qing spat out a few mouthfuls of blood, but the fact was that his injuries were not very serious. If he had not undergone body forging, then those few true essence lights would have been enough to split him into several pieces. But now, after he forcibly withstood the attacks of several Crucible Transformation cultivators, he had also swallowed a few pills, causing his injuries to almost fully recover. After obtaining the spiritual vein, Ning Qing did not immediately go to the Heavenly Tao public square. He and Tan Yun had an appointment to meet 3 months later. During these 3 months, he needed to cultivate in seclusion. For him, the best place to go into seclusion was, of course, the Rainbow Falls Sword sect. Without the transfer talisman, even if Ning Qing returned to the Rainbow Falls Sword sect from the Shattered Canopy Mountains, it would still take him at least 2 days. Ning Qing simply did not go to the Rainbow Falls Sword sect to find out that Wu Mao did not continue to chase after him. He simply found a quiet place within the Shattered Canopy Mountains and entered the miniature world to cultivate. Using the spiritual vein to cultivate, Ning Qing immediately felt the benefits. The cultivation effect of the spiritual vein was far inferior to the crystal stones that Meng Jingxiu had given him, but compared to his spirit stones, he did not know how many times better it was. At least there was no longer a situation of insufficient absorption of spiritual qi. After experiencing the slow absorption of spiritual qi from spirit stones for more than a year, Ning Qing once again felt the carefree feeling of cultivation. The spirit qi in the spirit vein was easier to fuse with one's body and convert into quintessential essence. In just 2 months, Ning Qing broke through from the 3rd level of Sea Opening Realm to the 4th level of Sea Opening Realm. With the improvement of his cultivation, the speed at which he absorbed spiritual energy through his cultivation method became faster and faster. The spirit vein happened to provide such a huge supply and demand, which was far from what the spirit stones could compare with. The 3rd level of the Sea Opening Realm and the 4th level of the Sea Opening Realm were only separated by a single level, but in fact, the difference in strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. One was at the early stage, while the other was at the middle stage. The difference between them was not something that could be explained clearly with just a few words. It turned out that when Ning Qing cast the Maximal Flame spiritual technique, he almost had to go all out. After casting this spiritual technique, his true essence and spiritual consciousness would dry up. But now Ning Qing believed that even if he used the Maximal Flame spiritual technique, he would still have the ability to escape. This was definitely different. One was that after using this divine ability, one could only pray for the opponent to be killed. One still had the ability to continue attacking, or choose to escape. It was not until this moment that Ning Cheng finally considered the maximal flame spiritual technique as a true life-saving measure. 3 months later, Ning Cheng finally stabilized his cultivation at the intermediate stage of the sea-opening realm, while the huge spiritual vein also automatically shrank by a large margin. However, Ning Cheng did not feel much guilt towards this matter. It was not that he did not want to split a third of the spiritual vein for Tan Yun. It was because the more spirit veins were severed, the worse the effect of cultivation. Heavenly Law Public Square. Although the I Ching mainland's disciple recruitment had already ended, the Heavenly Tao Public Square was still very lively. Moreover, the Heavenly Tao Public Square was even more lively these past few days. Everyone was aware that the newly appointed sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Ning Cheng, would soon have a showdown with Yin Yang Dao sect's Rong Jin in the Heavenly Tao Public Square's sect surpassing censure. This was a duel of life and death. Even though this duel couldn't be compared to the duel between the Heaven Continent's Tao Masters, it was still considered a duel at the pinnacle. After all, one of them was a Crucible Transformation 7th level cultivator from the Yin Yang Dao sect, while the other was a famous rising star, even the sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, Ning Cheng. Even if the Rainbow Fall Sword sect did not invite the major academies to host Ning Cheng's sect master ceremony, Ning Cheng was indeed the current sect master of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Therefore, this duel was also related to the face of the two major academies, the Rainbow Fall Sword sect and the Yin Yang Dao sect. Whoever lost, the academy would not only lose a Crucible Transformation elder or a sect master, but it would also suffer an extreme loss of face. Ning Cheng had just arrived at the Heavenly Tao Public Square, when his spiritual consciousness swept over a group of Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples. Sun Hanrui, Fu Xingnan, Ke Hongshui, Luo Zian, Liang Shi, Zhang Qian and the others were all present. Previously, when Ning Cheng returned to the academy, there was only Zhang Qian, he did not see any of the other disciples. Now that these people had returned, presumably they knew that he and the few grand elders had taken back the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Therefore, they once again returned to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Although Ning Cheng knew that they had no other choice, in Ning Cheng's heart, Zhang Qian still had a higher status in the academy. Ning Cheng was just about to go over and have a look, when he found another group of people blocking the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples. The number of people blocking the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples was a lot more than the number of Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples. Moreover, Ning Cheng also knew one of them, it was Shenbuchuan. Shenbuchuan was a true inheriting disciple of the Yin Yang Dao sect, and had initially met Ning Cheng during the Great Meet of the Academies. However, this person did not start, saying that he had fought 7 consecutive battles and needed to rest. As a result, once he rested, he did not come up again. Initially, this person was still at Profound Core 9th level, but now he had already reached the Great Circle of the Soul Essence realm. Compared to Ning Cheng's rapid progress, his progress was not much. However, Ning Cheng was aware of his own situation. He had the mysterious yellow bead, so it was normal for his cultivation speed to be several times faster than others. From this, it could be seen that this Shenbuchuan was not a simple person. He was about to have a duel with the Yin Yang Dao sect's Rong Jin, so it was normal for the Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples to find trouble with the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples. What, do you want to fight in the Heavenly Tao Public Square? Then let's try it out. Ke Hongshui was one of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's twin charming pair, so when the people from the Yin Yang Dao sect came knocking on his door, he naturally could not back down. Looking at Zhang Qian's status in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was not low. The main reason was, of course, very simple. When the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was besieged by other factions, he chose to escape, while Zhang Qian stayed behind. Now that the sect master was about to fight against the Crucible Transformation cultivators from the Yin Yang Dao sect in the Heavenly Tao Public Square, how could he weaken the reputation of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect in front of the Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples? Shenbuchuan spoke with disdain, "You are just a cultivator in the soul-sculpting realm, yet you still have the nerve to challenge me, a cultivator in the soul-essence realm, don't you have any face?" Luo Zian could not help but speak up from the side, indeed shameless, a person with high cultivation challenging someone with low cultivation. I heard that it was a crucible transformation cultivator challenging someone in the sea-opening realm. The Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples immediately became angry. Luo Zian was obviously ridiculing Yin Yang Dao sect's elder Rong Jin for challenging Rainbow Fall Sword sect's Ning Cheng. Several disciples immediately brought out their magical weapons, as a group fight was about to break out. Although the Heavenly Dao public square prohibited fighting, but once the hatred between the two factions escalated, this kind of group fight would be very difficult to resolve. Scram! A cold snort rang out and the faces of the disciples from the Yin Yang Dao sect turned red as they retreated. Just this shout alone nearly caused more than 10 Yin Yang Dao's disciples to vomit blood. If Ning Cheng wanted to, then these more than a dozen disciples would have already spat out a mouthful of blood. Such awe-inspiring prestige, a sect master actually dares to clash with some low-level disciples. I can finally see the arrogance of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. It turns out that they can only be arrogant towards these low-level disciples. On hearing this voice, Ning Cheng realized that this was Ji Xiu of the Yin Yang Dao sect, with the cultivation of Crucible Transformation 4th level. You get lost too. Otherwise, I'll challenge you right now. In the future, whoever dares to lay their hands on my Rainbow Fall Sword sect's disciples, I, Ning Cheng, will definitely kill them. Ning Cheng's imposing aura suddenly rose up, as it rolled up a wall of true essence out of thin air. Ji Xiu was so angry that his face turned ashen, but he didn't dare to stay. He estimated that he might not be a match for Ning Cheng. He had seen Ning Cheng kill Tang Gongxi with his own eyes. If he wanted to kill Ning Cheng, he would have to at least advance to the Crucible Transformation 7th level. A final struggle before death. I, Ji Xiu, am a Crucible Transformation elder of the Yin Yang Dao sect. Why would I care about a dead person? Alas, once the Rainbow Fall Sword sect master Roy passed away, the position of sect master would have to change constantly. Ji Xiu flaunted his words, but could only dejectedly lead a group of Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples away. He believed that Ning Cheng would not be able to escape from the palms of his senior apprentice brother Rong Jin. In the depths of his heart, he truly believed that Ning Cheng would die. Ning Cheng looked at Ji Xiu leading the Yin Yang Dao sect's disciples away, but did not continue to ridicule him. The Rainbow Fall Sword sect had suffered a disastrous decline. If he, as the sect master, did not show a bit of strength, then the disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect would not be able to go out in the future. The disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect felt their blood boiling. Although the cultivation of the new sect master was not at the Crucible Transformation realm, his words were still domineering. These kind of words contained a lot of momentum, and even scared away a Crucible Transformation elder from the Yin Yang Dao sect. As the Rainbow Fall Sword sect's twin lovebirds, Ke Hongshui and Luo Zian were filled with emotions in their hearts. When Ning Cheng first joined the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, they were still standing in front of Ning Cheng, choosing to follow him. But now, they only had the cultivation of soul sculpting realm, while Ning Cheng was already their sect master. The affairs of the world were constantly changing, and no one knew what would happen tomorrow. Greetings, sect master. Several disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect happily came over to greet Ning Cheng. Even Fu Xingnan, who had a grudge against Ning Cheng, came over to greet him. As for what she was thinking in her heart, no one knew. Fu Xingnan had plotted against Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng was not currently the sect master, he would have really wanted to cripple this woman. However, he was now the sect master, and also a friend of Fu Xiaomei. If he did not have this much magnanimity, then it would only make people laugh at him. Although he did not know why Fu Xingnan wanted to come here, he could only pretend that he did not see her. Ke Hongshui spoke up in shame. The sect has undergone a huge change, causing the few of us to have no choice but to escape. I ask sect master to punish us. Ning Qing did not expect that Ke Hongshui would speak out about this matter in an open and aboveboard manner, causing him to have a good impression of him in his heart. This matter cannot be blamed on you. Some of the other academies were hiding outside of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. With your cultivation in the soul sculpting realm, if you did not leave, I'm afraid that your life would have been in danger. It's good that you are able to come back. In the future you must work hard in your cultivation, and contribute some of your strength to the Rainbow Fall Sword sect. Yes, sect master. This time several disciples of the Rainbow Fall Sword sect bowed and replied at the same time. Ning Qing knew that they had come here to cheer for him, as such he did not ask much about it. He just looked at Sun Hanrui and spoke with a smile. Junior apprentice sister Hanrui, did junior apprentice sister Kursen come back? Did she come with you? Sun Hanrui's complexion changed slightly, causing Ning Qing to suddenly have a bad feeling in his heart. As he spoke to the rest of the people, you can go to the sect surpassing censure to cheer for me. Junior apprentice sister Hanrui and I have something to take care of, but we will be back soon. Speak, what happened to Liang Kursen? Ning Qing brought Sun Hanrui to a rest stop, before he immediately asked. Sun Hanrui quickly replied, Sect Master. Junior apprentice sister Hanrui, just call me senior apprentice brother Ning, I will not be the sect master for long. Ning Qing knew that it was impossible for him to stay in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect as the sect master, as such he had no other choice but to take over the position of the sect master. Yes, senior apprentice brother, junior apprentice sister Kursen was taken to the Mirage Gazing Island. Sun Hanrui's words had not yet finished, when Ning Qing knew that it definitely had something to do with the 9-colored mirage tree. Chapter 429. When did this happen? Ning Qing had some suspicions that Liang Kursen might have been implicated by him. More than 3 months ago, when Kursen and I were still outside, we had just received the news that the Rainbow Fall Sword sect was attacked, when some people stopped us and took away Kursen. Moreover, they also said that they were going to the Mirage Gazing Island. Sun Hanrui spoke in a tone filled with worry. Ning Qing was now sure that the Mirage Gazing Island taking away Liang Kursen had something to do with him, otherwise it would have been impossible for them to leave Sun Hanrui behind. Leaving behind Sun Hanrui, it should be because she knew that he had a good relationship with Liang Kursen and Sun Hanrui. He had captured one and kept the other to deliver a letter to him. He had been missing for such a long time, yet the Mirage Gazing Island only remembered to look for him. It should be that when he passed through the Mirage Gazing Island, someone recognized him. However, Ning Qing also believed that at the time when the Mirage Gazing Island had captured Liang Kursen, he had not yet displayed his invincible might in the Rainbow Fall Sword sect, otherwise the Mirage Gazing Island would not have acted so unscrupulously. Let's go to the sect surpassing censure. That Rong Jin might already be a bit anxious waiting for us. Ning Qing stood up. Senior apprentice brother, that junior apprentice sister Kursen. Sun Hanrui asked in a somewhat worried voice. Ning Qing sneered, since the Mirage Gazing Island has invited me with such hospitality, how can I let them down? After the matters here are over, I will go to the Mirage Gazing Island. By the time Ning Qing and Sun Hanrui arrived at the sect surpassing censure, it was already crowded with cultivators. The surpassing gate was actually a challenge stage. Unlike other challenge stages, this challenge stage only had one entrance. This entrance was like a door, which was why it was called the surpassing gate. Sect Master Ning is here. As soon as Ning Qing arrived, the surrounding people immediately started talking about him. Seeing Rong Jin already standing on the battle ring, Ning Qing knew that this person had been here for a while. I thought that Sect Master Ning was just trying to find an excuse, but I didn't expect him to have a bit of courage. It seems that it is barely worth it for me to make a move. Ning Qing had just arrived when Rong Jin, who was standing on the battle ring, ridiculed him. His voice was not loud, but the entire Heavenly Dao public square could clearly hear his voice. Ning Cheng did not speak any nonsense with Rong Jin this time. When he was at the early stage sea opening realm, he had not put Rong Jin in his eyes. Now that he was at the middle stage sea opening realm, how could he be afraid of a Rong Jin? Sect Master Ning's progress is truly fast. 3 months ago, I heard that you were only at the 3rd level of sea opening.0. I didn't expect that you would reach the intermediate stages of sea opening in just 3 months. A faint voice arrived. Ning Cheng turned around and saw the long-bearded cultivator. Ning Cheng glanced at the long-bearded cultivator and spoke in a casual manner, "No matter who you are, don't affect my mood. Otherwise, after I kill Rong Jin, I'll challenge you next." Humph. The long-bearded cultivator gave a cold snort and no longer paid any attention to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng wanted to challenge Rong Jin, but he only came to know about it after returning from the Shattered Canopy Mountains. This made him feel very helpless. Even if Ning Cheng was more powerful, in the face of Rong Jin, he would not have even half a chance of survival. Since Rong Jin killed Ning Cheng, then everything would belong to Rong Jin. He had been busy for many days, but it was destined to be in vain. What made Ning Cheng puzzled was that he did not see the array formation Grand Master Wu Mao. Ning Cheng did not think too much about it, as he flew over and landed on the sect-surpassing Censure's battle ring. As Ning Cheng landed on the battle ring, the entrance to the battling surpassing sect's battle ring was immediately sealed by an array formation. At this time, the people outside could only see the fight between Ning Cheng and Rong Jin. However, they could not intervene in it. As long as the entrance to the sect-surpassing battle ring was closed, it meant that only one person could come down from the sect-surpassing battle ring. As soon as Ning Cheng stepped onto the battle ring, the sarcasm on Rong Jin's face instantly disappeared. He stretched out his hand, and a silver long sword appeared suspended in his hand. However, he did not grasp it. "I use a sword, this sword is called Buried Soul." As Rong Jin's voice fell, the silver long sword in his hand disappeared. The moment the silver long sword disappeared, Ning Cheng felt as if he had left the battle ring, and was now in a place that did not belong to him. This was not the spatial stagnation caused by true essence, but it made Ning Cheng feel as if he had lost any place to hide. At this moment, Ning Cheng did not know how to block this terrifying feeling. It seemed that no matter where he went, he would still be in a state of being a fish on someone's chopping block. This piece of heaven and earth had already fallen under Rong Jin's control. An aura of death enveloped him, causing Ning Cheng to feel horrified in his heart. He quickly brought out his Nirvana spear, which transformed into a cluster of cold ice spear shadows. Kaka. Continuous sounds of true essence clashing against each other emerged, causing Ning Cheng's heart to sink. His Nirvana spear played a very small role in this fight. Poof! Blood splashed out, causing Ning Cheng's chest to turn cold. It was not until Rong Jin's silver sword cut into Ning Cheng's flesh and blood, injuring his sternum, that Ning Cheng finally caught a glimpse of the shadow of his opponent's silver sword. The Nirvana spear once again shot out. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out. This time, Ning Cheng truly found the trace of Rong Jin's buried soul sword. Ning Cheng flew back upside down, blood spilling over his body onto the ground. He flew a few dozen feet away before hitting the battle ring's restriction and falling down. The spatial stagnation around him disappeared, and the feeling of being a fish on someone else's chopping block also disappeared at this moment. Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. He knew that this was not because his cultivation was not as good as Rong Jin's, but because he had never seen such a strange way of fighting. Ha! Rong Jin's face remained calm, and did not continue to chase after Ning Cheng. In his eyes, as long as Ning Cheng stepped onto this battle ring, he was already a dead man. No wonder you dared to accept my challenge. It turns out that you have already reached the rank 5 Imperial body in body forging in the Sifting Orchid Star. But even so, you still have to die. Rong Jin took a step forward as he spoke, and the silver buried soul sword in his hand once again disappeared. His sword could have directly split Ning Cheng in two. Unfortunately, because Ning Cheng was not a low-level body-forging cultivator, it caused him to lose this opportunity. Ning Cheng did not even have time to catch his breath when the spatial stagnation around him once again turned sluggish. He once again felt as if he was not in his own territory. This time, not only did he have this kind of feeling, he also felt that the spatial stagnation around him also began to collapse. Spiritual technique? Ning Cheng immediately thought of his maximal flame spiritual technique. The maximal flame spiritual technique also used the Star River to cause the surrounding spatial collapse, however, it was a false collapse. Rong Jin was just a trivial crucible transformation cultivator, as such, he definitely could not master this spiritual technique. Ning Cheng instantly understood this matter, as he crazily compressed his spiritual consciousness to a range of 3 meters around him. In just a breath, Ning Cheng figured out the reason. It was not that Rong Jin's cultivation could suppress him to the point that he could not move, but the opposite party had a magical skill similar to his maximal flame spiritual technique, which could create a false feeling in him. This kind of magical skill made it impossible for him to find any flaws in it. It was not until Rong Jin's buried soul sword pierced his body that a trace of it appeared. After understanding this reason, Ning Cheng did not hesitate to shoot out with his spear. The reason why there was no trace was because he did not have any powerful means. Once his means were powerful enough to make the opposite party hesitate, the opposite party's magical skill would definitely reveal a trace. As long as there was a trace, his 36 cosmic true devil axes would be able to trap the opposite party. The surrounding spatial stagnation still caused Ning Cheng's nirvana spear to slow down in this spatial space. Even the mysterious trajectory of the spear intent was blocked. Even if the trajectory of Ning Cheng's spear intent was hindered and slowed down, Rong Jin could not completely erase the trace of Ning Cheng's spear. The trace of the buried soul sword finally revealed itself, causing the space around Ning Cheng to finally have a trace of air flow. When Ning Cheng felt that the air in this spatial space belonged to him, he also felt the buried soul sword that had disappeared without a trace. The buried soul sword had already reached his waist, and had even cut through his clothes. Poof! Another blood splashed out, but this time Ning Cheng's injuries were much lighter than the last time. Just as the buried soul sword was about to cut him in half, he immediately turned around, while simultaneously finding Rong Jin's advantage. Rong Jin's magical skill allowed him to control everything around him, giving him an illusion. In this illusion, the opposite party could kill him at any time. Ning Cheng managed to escape twice in a row, causing Rong Jin to frown. He also found that Ning Cheng's long spear had also disappeared. Previously, the trajectory of the spear was under his control, but at this time, the powerful spear intent made it impossible for him to catch it. Rong Jin's complexion changed, the buried soul sword turned into a silver light, these silver lights almost filled the entire battle ring. The cultivators watching from below the battle ring, could only see the silver lights one after another. In a distant corner of the Heavenly Tao public square, a blue-robed man saw the scene on the battle ring, and spoke out in amazement, "Did Rong Jin manage to pry into a domain? This is not a domain, but a sword technique that simulates a domain. This kind of sword technique is very terrifying. With Rong Jin's cultivation, he is still unable to pry into a domain. Not to mention him, even in the entire Yixing mainland, I don't know who would be able to pry into this kind of thing." A black-robed old man beside him shook his head and spoke. "Elder brother Mu, this Ning Cheng is able to block such a terrifying sword technique, moreover he is also a body-forging cultivator, if he does not fall in this fight, then no one would be able to compare to him in the future." The blue-robed man stared at Ning Cheng with a sharp glint in his eyes. The black-robed old man spoke in a dignified tone, "Elder brother Xiao seems to have made a mistake this time, I am sure that Rong Jin will lose this time. Rong Jin has already lost the best opportunity to kill Ning Cheng, at present he can only wait for Ning Cheng to kill him." If Ning Cheng can adapt to this sword technique that simulates a domain, then it would be of great help to him in the future. The blue-robed man gave a sigh. What elder brother Mu said is right, Ning Cheng's spear intent, even if I am separated by such a long distance, I would still feel fear in my heart. I was thinking, if Ning Cheng advanced to the crucible transformation realm, would I still be his opponent? Although the blue-robed man and the black-robed old man were separated by such a long distance, when they saw Ning Cheng's spear intent, they still felt fear in their hearts. However, for the ordinary cultivators watching from the front of the battle ring, they did not feel fear in their hearts. The Yin-Yang Dao sect's disciples and some of the gloating cultivators were filled with joy. Ning Cheng had suffered 2 consecutive blood spatters, and it did not look light at all. In their view, the entire battle ring was filled with the shadows of Rong Jin's buried soul sword. How could Ning Cheng still have a chance to survive? However, Rong Jin's heart turned cold. Even if the entire battle ring was filled with his silver sword light, he still could not stop the fear in his heart. In the eyes of others, the entire battle ring was filled with silver sword lights, but in his eyes, there was only the spear intent that no matter how many silver sword lights there were, they would not be able to block. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.